Well, it is Friday night, and man, seems like we got Doomcock rolling. Cocktail Lounge should be starting soon. We're going right now. Friday Night Tights was hot. I caught a little bit of that. So, apparently it's still going according to the Nerd Father himself. Wow,
it's still going, dude. Yeah.
Man, no. I caught the first hour and a half of it, right when Ripple was going on, and they were talking about that show. Hail to you, Father Christopher Miller.
Oh my goodness! I just realized I just started listening at the beginning.
Oh wow!
And that's 5 hours ago.
Wow, dude! So they're actually doing a longer one, kind of like the old days. Because that used to be what it used to be way back when. They used to be 5, 6, 7 hours. Now they're like trimming down to 4, 4.5. But hey, if they're still going strong, good for them. I mean, I want them to still go strong. So,
well, dude, at one point they had over 5,000 people.
Yeah.
Well, who had 5,000 people?
Listening, Gary. And the
yeah.
Hello, Dabalis. Hello, sir.
The great Lord Thoth is here. I'm sorry I cut you up there because I know you mentioned him. And hello, he is Avon lives and long live the Legion.
Dude, that panel was something else.
Dude, I know, right?
Dude, I had so much fun, man. And I appreciate you being there, man, because you didn't, like I said, you didn't have to show up because I know you were never much of a Legion guy, but you did anyway, and you were a trooper with us, and we appreciated you, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Dude, no, thank you. I mean, dude, it was just fun getting the knowledge. I'm just like, I've been looking at books now. I'm just like, oh my God, I need to read Legion of Superheroes comics. So that alone is saying everything, like for real. I'm just once again, I'm just really happy to have been a part of that. And I'm like, man, I actually feel like I know more than one thing about this. So I'm like, yes, I know something about the Legion now. And now it's like, it had me watching the JL Justice League episodes actually last night before I did my X-Files stream. I was watching those episodes. I'm like, oh,
you saw that one Far From Home?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Dude,
good, dude.
Yeah, right is good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Me Mitchell, I'm all right, brother.
You're right.
My good friend. But yeah, I mean, dude, that episode kills me, man. It just takes me back, and they make the Legion look right, which is probably the only time we'll ever see that anything that's other than comic book. That's moving pictures, whether it's animated or live. Well, it's the only time we'll ever see the Legion handled right and looking right for the most part.
Yeah, no, hey, agreed. And that's the thing, like, it made me cherish one now understanding the episode that much more in the context of things. But yeah, now that we're seeing them, what's the word here? Adapted the way they were for that episode. I'm like, wow, yeah, we might never get something like that in our lifetime or any lifetime, really. I don't know. I mean, I won't say any lifetime, but definitely in our lifetime, we're not going to see something like that. So,
another thing about that episode is it also flies in the face of that horrible thing that Crisis on Infinite Earths did to Supergirl in 1985 when it came out, what they did to her. Because it ends, it's a complete contradiction of that ending.
I haven't read that book in a long time.
The classic cover of by Perez on Crisis on Infinite Earths #7 with him holding her, and she's been killed fighting the Anti-Monitor.
Oh, yeah. Now memories.
Super famous cover, dude.
Yeah. Most famous, yeah. And then you saw yesterday when we're talking about the issue that dealt with the aftermath of that was in Legion, even though that happened in the past. Brainiac 5 dealing with the death of the woman he loves. So.
Man,
that was me. Sorry, that was.
It's all good, dude. So
I was turning the tablet on because I've got to have it for this and the next one. So.
Hey, Pablo. Hey.
¿Cómo vamos?
Hey, Pablo. What's up, brother?
Hey, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I just finished Yakuza Kiwami.
Yeah.
I will recommend that game for the rest of my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
Yakuza Kiwami. It's a remake.
Okay, the new one that just came out?
Oh, no, that's Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's the remake for the first Yakuza, but with a bunch of extra shit. The story is the most manliest shit you'll ever see.
It's on Game Pass, so they have all of them on Game Pass right now.
Yes.
So.
Oh man, that's great. Had the Austinator wrote earlier. Moist. He is the very first comment. Oh man. Mortal Kombat. Oh, Lord Thoth, thank you for the feedback. Oh, Lord Thoth. I gotta read this in the context. Mortal Kombat Justin, Lord Thoth, 6 out of 10. Did he meant to write Lady Thoth?
Oh, I think he meant ladies.
That's
she liked it even less.
So she liked. I can see that.
I've been hearing a lot of mixed reviews
correction.
on Mortal Kombat, dude.
Yeah,
like Lethal didn't like it one bit. Well, I was
Lethal
like,
Lightning, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Lethal didn't like it. He goes, just because it's woke doesn't mean it's, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, that's a good standard. Yeah, he's
I'm really getting tired of this because something is not woke makes it good stuff.
No, he didn't like it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm commending him for that. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, that's my boy right there. I was like, you know, I'm backing him up on that one. So
no, and this is a question that I will actually do, because you know, if it is good, okay, is enjoyable.
Might be.
Or is it bad enjoyable, or is it, you know? So the real question is, shall I go to watch it on cinemas, get it on a stream, or go to Tortuga? That is the real question. Because, you know, most people will tell you if it is without woke politics, okay, it's good. But that's not true all the time, you know?
Yeah, even that's a low standard.
Shows,
U.S. Dutch Kitty!
Hey, good to see you.
Hey,
Dutch. Hey, everybody in chat. My problem with it was they didn't have Johnny Cage, you know?
That seems to be, and I know nothing of Mortal Kombat because I'm old, but that seems to be what I keep hearing from a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems
Johnny's
to be a very
the boy. Johnny Cage is my boy in the game. I played him like from the start, you know, all the way on. Like,
but let's be honest. Mortal Kombat at the beginning, when the first games came out, it didn't have a real story.
Yeah, no.
And there's a bunch of people that say that the lore is not right. Dude, I played the original Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. All good, Red Shirt. All good, dude.
Yeah.
I appreciate you jumping in here before you had to go on to the lounge, which I know I'll see you at later tonight anyways. But I want to get to the Austinator's comment. I picked these up just because Yellow Flash wouldn't stop talking about them, and it's surprising that I enjoy them. And it's not just because that they're not woke, but they're actually fun, and they're you know, and they are. There is of course a diverse cast, but that show always was dating back to the 90s. But it's lots of action and it's just a cool, fun comic. So it's like, wow, Yellow Flash was right about that. I couldn't believe it. So I'm reading Power Rangers, so that's a thing. So can't believe I'm saying that, but here we are, you know, per se.
Yeah, so, Power Rangers is awesome, dude. Like I gotta say that. I still love me some Power Rangers.
Of course. But we're gonna get into it though. So now we've broken the ice for 10 minutes, and Dutch Kitty, that's right. I've joined the club.
That's good.
We're just gonna talk about comics, what we're reading, whether it's new, old, whatever, middle age. I don't care. I just want to talk about fun stuff. Last week we did art showcasing. Now this week we're gonna talk about what we're into, what we're reading, and Jed, why don't you go for it, man? Start right off.
Oh, I went back and was reading the Great Darkness Saga. Like again, when we were going to do Region, because I hadn't read it in like 10 years, so that's what I was reading this week. So
nice, man.
Yeah, because I hadn't read it in like 10 years. I was like, I need to go back and read this again. So that's because I don't read it. I like every now and then. Like there is a comic that's coming out. It's going to be the Masters of the Universe Revelation, and I hope, pray to God, please do not screw this up. I want them to.
You know who's writing it.
I know, and I'm having a huge problem with that. And you know why?
Yeah, we know why.
And I'm just, please do not.
Okay, who's writing it?
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're gonna get
Tell
into
him.
that.
Just tell him. Spill the beans.
Kevin is like,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
yeah, and I'm like,
That looks dope. That's
Yeah,
Snort a poop
Oh, I like
Yeah, snort.
Pablo's reaction to that. That's fantastic.
yeah, I know, and you know, Nick, you know, and Mike, you know about why I gotta be like political on this one. Oh dear.
Okay.
It tears me to death though.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I'm just all I want is just good He-Man and Masters of the Universe. That's it. Just please don't screw it up. Just please do not screw it up. That's it. Like I just want something good. Like we hadn't had He-Man for so long and Masters of the Universe for so long. Just please. And I was watching they did a video about it this morning and they said the same thing I did. The guys that they got on him because they said they're like, please just don't make it woke and just make it fun and have a good story. Make sure He-Man's in there. He's the main focus because He-Man was the main focus of the show. And so I was just like, that's it. Just please. Hey, Father
Let's be
Christopher.
honest. If you're realist, even in She-Ra, He-Man was the main protagonist.
Yeah, I know. And He-Man was even, so it's just.
Yep.
Wow.
No.
Okay. Mike Beat just said, "What do you think of Dolph?" I love that movie. It's like Howard the Duck for me. Like, and I know a lot of people don't like.
Oh, I love
movie.
Howard the Duck.
Oh yeah, well that's the reason why you're going to be on the stream. So when we get it going, I'm trying to get somebody for it. That's the reason why it's taken forever. Trying to see if I can get them back, but they're busy. So that's the reason why I'm.
We got a question here,
on
Jed.
Yeah, so.
Why don't you answer? Go ahead. From Mike B. What did you think of Dolph Lundgren He-Man? Or maybe that could be for any of us, really.
Yeah, well, that one is. I love it. I know it wasn't the He-Man everybody wanted, and Teela and Men at Arms are a little bit weird, but dude, some of that was pure on He-Man. Like some of it, I know a little bit of it was like, yeah, they kind of like, but yeah, Eva Lynn. Well, Eva Lynn was. She was like, who was that? Yeah, it's just, I love it. Just like I love Howard the Duck. I said Grizzlord, like it wasn't Grizzlord, the little dude. I can't remember. I can never remember his name. It's been like 30 years, and I still can't remember his name.
Dude, look at that.
Yeah.
Lord Thoth has all the Howard the Duck comics.
Yeah, so do I. I got them all in one of my long boxes.
One of
here,
them.
So.
Wow.
One
of my long boxes. I got like 15, 16 long boxes over here. So. If I ever want to do a workout, I just lift those things up.
Right.
Especially when we have to move. Thoth. Yeah, Eva Lynn was hot in the movie. Like, I ain't gonna lie, And she was in a lot of horror movies and a lot of sci-fi back then too. The person who played, I can't remember what her name was. So
who are you talking about?
Who played Eva Lynn in the Master of the Universe? Frank Langella. Dude, I loved him as Skeletor, and they set it up to do a sequel. And because the first one bombed, they were never going to do a sequel.
Soul Assassin. What's up, buddy? That's good.
Yeah, we're talking about comic. Yeah, so I was like, I said I have like 16 long boxes of comics. So if I ever want to do a workout, just.
I'm going to ask for Mr. Father Christopher Miller. Isn't that book that Gabriel Walta is drawing? If that's what I recall, because he did do God, what did he do? I can't remember what he did. Oh, he did something with this company called TKO. He did with Jeff Lemire. He did a book called Sentient, and I really like Gabriel's. He's got a weirder style, so I can't remember if he was doing how or not. So correct me if I am, Father. Let me know.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
on Father Christopher's stream this morning when me and Mike were on there, he showed some cool comics this morning too. So yeah.
Ooh.
So he was showing some of his comics over there. So
Nice.
Yeah. By the way, Father Christopher, I want to say this. Thank you for letting me on the stream, and I hope to be on there next Friday. So it was awesome being on there with you. So
Same. Thank
So,
you, Father. We
yeah.
enjoy it.
Thank
we
you,
really
Father.
appreciate that, sir.
yeah, we appreciate it. So
I got
yeah,
the night
Mick-
shift with you guys now.
Mm.
He had the day
Yeah.
shift. I got the night shift with you guys.
I know. Yeah. Soul Assassin was Mike Beat said Meg Foster. She was in a lot of sci-fi and horror back.
Oh
in
yeah,
the day.
there you go, Meg Foster.
Yeah,
That's right.
she
Yeah, I
was
should've known
super
that.
hot in the movie. She was a perfect
She was,
evil.
she was
though.
in They Live.
Yeah, I love that movie, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just
Dude, I haven't seen They Live in so long, and
It's
so
Yeah,
relevant.
snort.
You know what's interesting about They Live to me? I mean, other than it's being a really cool,
Yeah.
fun movie,
Yeah.
that was made by a then time SJW, who I love, by the way. I love John Carpenter. He was a big time hateful towards people on the let's just say right side of the fence, if you will, the right
Yeah.
leaning politics. He made it as an absolute, and from that standpoint, it was absolutely moronic. The people he was calling, he considered those aliens to be in the film. He was being an absolute idiot in his interviews about that, blaming that on about people that he didn't like politically on a certain side of the spectrum, because I don't do a lot of politics. And yet still, it was intended. It was aimed. It was almost 40 years ago, and it was the modern day equivalent of the then equivalent of the 80s of wokeness today.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I still loved it then, because even that is subtle. Like, because you wouldn't, if you didn't know that about him saying that in an interview, you'd never know, because and that's how well made and entertaining that film is.
That is impressive. I'll give that to him on that aspect. I will.
And you know something real funny about the movie? If
Mhm.
it was made to be pro SJW, it has gone completely anti SJW
Other way around,
to this
yes.
day.
And he
Yes.
probably still isn't himself, but his film sure is.
Yes. So yeah, kind of backfired there.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah.
Man, time is interesting like that.
Yeah.
Seriously,
The ending of the
it really be like that.
The ending of the movie is the protagonist going to destroy a news media antenna. That's all.
Yep. I loved it. Yeah, I loved it even then, even though I know he was insulting everyone on my side of that. I'd loved his work before, and I love that movie then. It's as heavy-handed as you can get in that sense, and yet compared to today, it is so subtle.
I love that movie.
I love Snorta.
Yeah.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
And the fight in the alley between Roddy Piper and Keith David
Oh yeah,
was one of
that
the best
fight keeps going.
bare knuckle fights you've ever seen in a film ever. Just
Yes.
brutal.
Dude, speaking of bare knuckle fights, I actually just watched for the first time recently the Jean-Claude Van Damme action movie, Kickboxer. Dude, how did I not see that way back when? I mean, I was all in on that blood sport life, and also I'm like, oh, hey, I should watch Kickboxer. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro. Dude, no, seriously, like it's it's shamelessly over the top. It's got all the wonderful stereotypes, but that's what makes it great. It's what made all those flicks what they were. And God, the cheesy villain with the simple motivation, but you didn't care because it's all about the action. I'm afraid of it all. That's not a poopus, right? Nerdfather, love
Yeah, I know, right?
Bloodsport.
In the old movies, used to be so fucking amazingly crazy. They wanted to destroy the planet. Like, if you destroy the planet, you are going out too, right? They didn't even care. They just wanted to do some shit. They were evil. Plain evil. That was it.
Elagabalus has a question for Globby.
Yo, what is it? Let's see. Michelle, I or you? You were the host, sir. I wouldn't want to take your. Want to read it? Or
Yeah, go ahead, read it, Mike.
another history question for Clover Times. I hope I can get this. I don't embarrass myself here back in the day. How did Marlon and DC promote upcoming releases? Did they advertise in the comics themselves? That would be a yes. Or rely on word of mouth and comic shops? They definitely advertised in the pages of their own comic books. It was their biggest way. I'm not sure if you're referring, I mean, obviously later and they've done other things, but for the most part, they're almost their sole form of advertising from the golden age um, up until good knows how long, really. Pretty much,
Yeah.
even up until the 90s and beyond, their primary source of advertising their comics was to put ads in their comics. The comics are filled with ads for many other things, of course, including bubblegum, which she's been here to come here to chew and and many other things, many other crazy things, including selling. Yes, but yes, the house ads are one of the fun things I love to look back on, especially in the old days. And then in the 80s, they still did that, but they also put out freebie like flyer type things called direct currents, DC direct currents. They would send those. They had Marvel started doing their own publication called Marvel Age. Some of us called it Marvel Garbage, and different things like that. Yes, but primarily through their own magazines. Sorry for the long-winded dumb answer.
No. Hey, it's always I like seeing a thorough answer. The Nerd Father, guys, is making his piece. So to that, we say good night, sir. And if you're listening as you pass out, thank you for hanging out for 20 minutes. I appreciate you. All right. I look forward to joining you for some stretches Friday afternoon in the next few weeks. It's going to be great. I love how it's the opposite of Friday nights has a Friday afternoon stretch.
Yeah.
Have a great night, Father. Take care.
Good night, Father Christopher. Have a good night. Yeah. So we're on his before it, and then we're on yours after.
Yes.
So,
it really be like that. It really be like that.
If you go back and listen to it, I was really groggy because I just woken up. So I was like being quiet for a few minutes, and then I got into the groove. I get into the groove of it once I start moving around and start talking. So stretches. Yeah.
Yes. Stretches indeed. Pablo.
Yep.
What have you been reading? Comics, manga, whatever. What's been on your reading list when the moment arrives? What are you looking at? What are you into? New or old?
I have been going back to old manga.
Okay.
I mean, not that old, but 10 years is 10 years, you know? And man, compared to the full commercial manga like One Punch Man, if you read it,
oh yeah, I bought the first book of that.
Yeah, read it, and it has a kind of fun story. The original manga was a web comic done with the stick figures, and someone got the web page and was in love with the concept, with the writing, with everything, and he contacted the writer to be able to redo the whole manga with a nice illustration. That's how One Punch Man started, and it's amazing, just amazing. And other one that you can go is My Hero Academia. Anime is good.
Yeah. I haven't started that yet, but I keep wanting to. So.
But the manga is a bit more simplistic, and also the guy that draws the ladies likes them, a bit chubby. So it's quite an interesting pin-up art style on superheroes. But
yeah,
it's
incredible. Well, Snort, you're a good bear, so.
Go on, Pablo.
Go ahead, Pablo. Sorry.
Yeah, that's two that I have been looking around, and also I have been going back to old games. There's a bunch of good games, and right now there's nothing coming out. If you bought the new consoles, I feel sorry for you. I really do. There's no new games. There's nothing good in the horizon. So I have been going back to PS3 games, to PS4 remakes of PS3 games. And there's some really crazy good things there. If you can go to the Yakuza games, that's what I have been doing the past 2 weeks. Just playing and playing and playing and playing. And dude, the story is crazy. It's this overly manly story of a guy trying to find his old sweetheart and being betrayed, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's so good.
Oh, dude, you got my attention, man. I'm
Oh,
listening. I mean,
it's good. Like it
yeah.
is. So
No, you
So-
know, there's way to express manliness, and this is overly manly. You know, if there's a fight, and a stupid fight in the middle of a port, where the guy that you have been
Uh-oh.
kicking your ass with just randomly decides to help you. And when he gets really hurt, you just go, oh, he'll shake it off, and you walk away.
everybody in that game world universe shakes it off.
Yes. And you're like,
You can like totally destroy them, and they'll get up and like,
Yes.
hey guys, let's go to have some noodles and stuff. And I was like, did he just get destroyed like 5 minutes
Yes.
ago?
you
Like,
just go like, you literally shoot a guy in the head multiple times,
yeah,
and then you keep talking about how your policy is not killing anyone.
yeah.
It's
It's
just
just yeah.
crazy. But
Well,
it's the old time
Go ahead,
fun, you know.
Yeah, it
Before
is.
comic books and animations and everything, they were that crazy. You'll see a gigantic explosion blowing up the whole character, the whole town, and then the characters will walk it off. You know, just
yeah, they're like,
randomly.
hey, that was I just got shot, but it's okay. I'll be good in about an hour.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was ridiculous, but it was fun, and that's something that we miss when we go overly. I have been seeing a few scenes of the last episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
That's
When you
Yeah.
try to be realistic and also preach and also be fantastic, you lose completely all kind of attention. You know,
Yeah.
you cannot keep a serious, straight face saying that kind of writing, and then just try to make it more fantasious with adamantium, not adamantium, sorry, vibranium wings that should be unable to fly. Vibranium is incredibly heavy. That's why Wakandans use it as a thread to reinforce fabric, not to make fabric. These guys don't get the fucking comics. I don't know.
No, they clearly don't, and it shows.
Yeah.
Like, oh
Did
yeah,
we-
I just saw it before I got on here, and
Yeah.
You were watching Friday Night Tights and that to get along together.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I did a few hours of FNT. Then me and my missus we had dinner, and then after
Mhm.
that, we watched the show, and like I liked one thing about it, just one, and other than that, I was just like, man, like the minute I saw when what's her face Carly shot Agent 13. And or no, sorry, when Carly got shot and Sam's attending to her, I'm like,
Yeah,
dude,
I was like,
what
I
are
was
you
like-
doing? You should be
Oh.
Did you-
checking on Sharon. Why are you checking on Carly? And yes,
you-
she is a
did-
terrorist. It's not even up for dispute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Nick,
Oh.
did you see the part? Did you see the part where he came down like an angel and they did it on purpose and he
Oh
had
my
her in her
God.
eye? I was like,
Oh,
fuck
this-
off, really?
Can you call an ambulance for killing yourself with cringing? Connect.
I
Cringing
was just like,
cause you to go like to the
Really,
hospital or
just
something because it
piss
almost
off.
put me in the hospital.
This is exactly what I refer to as woke porn. Is gratuitous
sir.
wokeness. Is full on wokeness. It's
Right.
like when you see a hardcore extreme video of adult content. Yeah, this is wokeness on that level. It's just being woke and focusing on the woke. There's no context, no nothing. It's just moist wokeness.
Moist
action,
wokeness.
It is.
Yeah,
And
it
you know what?
is.
The first half hour, when it's just sticking to sheer action, that stuff's okay.
Yeah.
it
It's got
was,
some
it was
good
all
action in
right.
it.
for
The
the
whole
that.
action
series-
was good.
The whole series,
Yeah.
if you just distilled all the good stuff on this show, the action, some of the good characterization here and there with Bucky and some with Sam. I like both the actors.
Yeah,
Baron Zemo in
we got good
particular.
chemistry, and
Zemo.
Zemo is better on this.
Some of the John Walker stuff even. if you
He
distilled
actually
all the
redeemed
good stuff, you
himself.
could make maybe like a 35 to 40-minute show. The rest is just insufferable garbage. And I really, after last week, didn't think you could be more unbelievably cringy.
Yeah.
And they topped it. They may have gone up the cringe-o-meter. They blew it up.
Yeah, you get I'm a Black Man on Stars
God.
And they
Stripes, and
counteract
then-
themselves too.
Black
what
felt
don't I know?
Because
again
they
and
they
again.
make her, she's a blonde hair, blue eyes. She's
That's-
okay, but somebody else
That's-
can't be that. You know?
Did anybody else
No.
notice that a woman in two Marvel series in a row walked away after doing evil crap and got away with it?
Yeah.
But
dude.
I want to focus on that phrase, I'm a Black Man on Stars and Stripes, because I have seen my whole life this photo of two black people, a man and a woman, in the typical flag sweat gear, you know. The pants have the flag, the sweater has the flag, the hat has the flag. Dude, I have seen that all my life. What the fuck are you talking about?
These people are trying to rewrite history. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe they actually were trying to put John Walker, now U.S. agent, on what feels like a redemption arc, because I thought they were just gonna keep him written off as, I don't know, trash. I couldn't believe they actually did that with him. Like,
I
I
was
was happy
surprised by
with
that.
that. I was very surprised because you
When he
wouldn't
saved the
expect
truck?
that.
When
Yeah,
he tried
that
to
was
save
cool.
the truck. I was even I'm going.
That was
Wow, I can't
freaking,
believe
I
this.
like that. That was cool when he was
Yeah.
saving the truck. That was cool.
It was cool. It made me feel like, okay, I can root for this guy again.
Yeah.
And he stayed the course the rest of the episode. He was all happy. He's just like, I'm gonna do this again. He's got a second chance. I'm like, holy crap, he's gonna get a redemption arc. I'm like, man, screw Cap 4. I might be slightly interested in US Agent. I can't believe I'm saying that, but
Yeah.
but
Here
I
we
couldn't
are.
believe, because
with these
what
people
they
in
did-
charge, you're not gonna get anything good though.
right.
Yeah.
That's
What they
true.
did, they totally ignored what he did 2 episodes ago. It just like kind of skipped over. It's like, oh, he killed somebody, decapitated him, like almost, and then like, oh, you, and then he comes back and just gets a spank on the hand and like, oh yeah,
Well-
I'm gonna come in and help the good guys now. Like, what?
Whether he went too far or not, he did it out of enrage for losing his friend.
Yeah, I do know that, Mike.
Carly was running around just murdering people for the,
Yeah, left and
absolutely right. And yeah, but no, you're right, Jed. And it's absolutely, they don't care. These people don't care about that. They make excuses for Carly.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Which that's what
god!
that's what Sam does.
That's
I
what
was-
Sam did. He was just like,
Yeah.
this girl died. I'm like, did you just forget about all the people she killed? Really?
And he kept going, I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to hurt you. And I'm like, dude, fucking take her out. Like,
Yeah.
what is your problem, Sam? Like,
This is a rabbit hole. I don't know if you want to go down to so it's on the
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah.
All right.
Depress everybody.
Let's move on. Let's talk comics.
yeah.
I've
Okay,
been-
let's just say in the comics, a U.S. agent used to be okay. First, they tried to hide what they were writing on Captain
Yeah.
America, saying that there was another Captain America, and the original Captain America was frozen. So this guy was acting as Captain America. He became a U.S. agent. Okay, he was always a darker version of Captain America. It was that simple. And yes, I can see him killing someone. I can see him wielding guns. It's like a Bucky's Captain America. He
Oh,
was almost
totally.
an US agent. So yeah, I can see this, and I would love to see a proper US agent movie or a US agent.
Keely
Uh,
Chow. Go
Keely
ahead, Pablo.
Chow.
Just had to
Yeah.
say that.
No worries. I want to see that, but I want to see US agent finally facing with Steve Rogers, and Steve Rogers is no longer there.
Yeah, right.
I-
Probably properly done, of course, because I mean, God, they might as well just leave it at where they at, because he was, I guess you could say, he had a bit of a high note at the end, want to come back and try and make right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, they're going to definitely mess with John Walker again, and it'll be terrible.
Oh,
yeah.
This really all started going downhill with that horrible thing they did to Steve Rogers at the end of Endgame by having him quit.
Yes.
But again, we keep bouncing back to that, and it's just
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, can
Right.
I say something? What Snort said? He goes, I think
Sure.
they put him in a white costume to emphasize that he is black, just in case you missed that.
That's what the suit is in the books.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, and
Okay.
I was like, okay, you know, there's a lot of white on that outfit. I was saying that to myself. I was like, why are they emphasizing that? Like,
because that's all they know how to lead with the skin for some
Yeah.
reason.
and I was like, so, I was just
All
like,
right.
dude,
Who's
I
got the
can't.
police after them?
Oh, okay. My country is kinda in a weird situation. Monday to Tuesday, you can go out from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Fridays, you can go out from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it reverses, and then Sunday and Saturday, you can't go outside or you'll get shot. And
Jeez.
Wow.
there's people out
Yeah.
and they are running like fucking crazy.
Wow.
Oh, did you, Pablo? I retweeted this on Twitter. Did you see where the lady? I don't know where this was at. The lady went to go. She was just walking down the street with a sign and stuff, and she was actually doing exercise and stuff. And the cop rolls up on her. I don't know if it was in Canada or wherever it was at. And
Lord
they said,
Thoth, I got you.
Come on, Lord Thoth, man. What the
"Come on, Lord." Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna get him on because I want to talk about what I got, and I know Klobby's gonna have something. And
Oh, yeah,
Thoth
go
will
ahead.
have something.
Go ahead, brother.
What were you
But
saying,
I was
Jen?
just,
Okay.
it was just a point to, Pablo's.
Just to respond to Steve, yo vivo en Ecuador, en Quito,
Yeah,
Ecuador.
they were saying, he goes, well, I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna get in like it was a lot of money, and they said you got to go home, you're in trouble right now, and she kept going, can you tell me what I did wrong? He goes, you know what you did wrong, and I was like, she's like, no, please tell me what I did wrong, because you didn't say I can't exercise. She goes, you're not doing what you're supposed to, ma'am. And then she goes and points out to the guy that's riding a bicycle right over there, and it's like, are you going to tell that guy? Because you're not telling that guy over there. There was people in the background that was doing the same shit she was, but he came over to her and told her she has to go home and she's in trouble. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the planet is getting crazier.
It is.
Yes, it is.
I
So-
used to read comic
Alright.
books to see these dystopic situations. You know, I used to love Dread. And by the way, the movie,
Yeah.
if
I used to love them.
I know there's a bunch of people that kind of dislike the take.
Mhm.
But the 3D is amazing, the story is amazing, the
I hate that
effects are
movie.
amazing, everything on that bloody movie is amazing. So yeah, we need more of that. And I used to love reading the Dread comic books. I never thought I will be reading a kind of crash course to Society 2022.
Now you are. Now you are. But
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna let Mr. Clawren talk about what's on his comic agenda in the world.
Well, you know what, man? I stopped reading most mainstream comics or most any new comics for a long time ago. I think the last new series I picked up, and it's not out anymore. Hello, the great Lord Bob. What's up, buddy? Good to see you,
Hola,
man.
hermano.
I'm honored to be here tonight. Thanks for the
good to see
invite,
you, bud.
Nick. I appreciate it.
What's up, brother?
My pleasure. Let's roll. Clobber's
Um,
gonna talk about his comic book readings.
I'm
Well-
sorry to interrupt you, Clobby. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem, man. Glad to see you, buddy. I mean,
Hey,
you
it's
were
good to
awesome
see you.
yesterday, man.
Glad
Thank
to
you so
see you
much. You
too,
were just
brother.
extraordinary, bud.
I was only as good as the host, man. You were awesome.
So,
That
dude,
that
for me,
discussion
you
was
were
just
the host,
incredible.
buddy. For me, you were the host, bro.
You're so awesome at making me feel good, man.
He ain't wrong.
Tell you what, man. We were all the hosts. Yeah, the last sort of quote unquote new comic book I read was that Orville book by Dark Horse. I've dropped everything else. I was buying some of those reprint, facsimile books and some of those True Believers. But lately, and really kind of over the past couple of years, my favorite thing to read to do with comics, art
Yeah.
comics. They're Tomorrow's magazine's back issue magazine, which covers mostly the Bronze Age, which I have every issue of and I dearly love. Alter Ego by Roy Thomas, which I do pick up a lot. Comics about comic book history, in other words. That's what a ridiculous comic geek I am. I love comic book history. They also publish quarterly the Jack Kirby Collector, which I have every issue of, going back to, and then that goes back into the early 90s. They're almost up to issue number 75, and it's been coming out since 1995. That'll tell you how often it comes out, which is not very often. And they do all kind of great books about different comic book artists and other eras of comics. And so that's my big thing. I'm such a ridiculous comic book geek that they did a book a couple of years back that I'm going to name something that no Thoth knows about. Remember the DC Implosion, Thoth?
Which one?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a spell. There was only one. But yeah, I'm talking about the one thing that's actually called that. I know what you're saying. There was something called the DC Explosion. Someone asked earlier about comic book ads. I think it was Elagabalus. Elagabalus. I always screw his name.
Elagabalus, I think it is.
And anyway, there. Oh, I'll derail it for a second. Love the stream on Legion. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's great.
Success.
I have favorite superheroes that remain obscure and are no longer seen. That's a good question. I'd like to go into that one, but
me too, actually.
Oh,
yeah,
mine
do that.
I'll just wrap up.
I got one.
Go ahead, Clobby.
Wait. Let's let Clobby finish his thought here because this is a good.
That's my fault for derailing.
Yeah.
The DC Implosion, something that happened in the 70s in DC. They came out. They were trying to compete with Marvel, and they had the DC. They kept running these ads for the DC Explosion, and they put a bunch of titles out, right? Well, they were having a lot of problems because Marvel was killing them with reprints. When you ever see books called Marvel's Greatest Comics or Marvel Tales or Marvel Feature from the 70s that look like 70s comics because they're reprints that they bombarded the rack with to kill Atlas Seaboard comics, started by Larry Lieber, Stanley's brother. Yeah, and Martin Goodman, the guy who started Marvel, Atlas, and Marvel, and to also kill a lot of the DC new books by clogging the racks. And they succeeded in killing Atlas very quickly. And they also succeeded in killing this big new expansion line for DC in the early to close to the mid 70s. And so very quickly it became everyone when those books so many of them didn't even get off the ground. If you've ever, some of them got compiled in something called Comics Cavalcade because the books got made. And those are very rare, Comics Cavalcade. But canceled Comics Cavalcade, excuse me. But anyway, the Implosion was a real big thing that went on behind the scenes at DC and in the industry. They released a book about it, and I guess it was dumb for me to even go into that because it's such, inside baseball in the weeds. That's the kind of crap I like to read about that nobody, like 5 people even care about or know about.
I remember that. That was the late 70s. That was like 78, I think. And that's when there was like 17 or 18 titles they just randomly canceled. And then they jacked the prices up on the comics, right? There was like, because I loved All-Star Comics. Wasn't that one of the ones that were canceled?
It was one of many.
Firestorm, I think.
So wait, what you are saying is basically that they used to saturate the market with good comics to kill other companies, and now they
Stan did. Stan Lee, that was his idea, and others. Yes, Marvel used to do it with reprints. DC tried it too.
They have done completely the opposite. They have saturated the market with bad comic books to kill themselves.
Yeah, because Marvel, what they tried to do, they were trying to pinch all the other comic companies out of the market. And DC kind of was floundering at that time because Marvel was kind of taking over.
There was only so much rack space, dude.
That's
and
right,
kids only had
exactly.
so much disposable income.
And this was back in the days, too. Let's not forget that this was back in the days when comics were at the corner stores and they were everywhere.
Drugstores, 7-Elevens.
Yeah. This wasn't a direct market situation where there was comic shops where the only places to get comics. Comics were everywhere.
Right. And again, kids, who were still, sorry, everyone out there, they were the primary readers and buyers of comic books. There was only so much to go around.
Right.
And they knew that they could flood the market with Marvel reprints. And DC actually tried it too later. and it killed the smaller attempts. Like Atlas Seaboard was destroyed by it, and that was started again by Martin Goodwin and Stanley's brother Larry Lieber. They both didn't last long. But anyway, that's something.
Wow, man, your knowledge is just impressive, Kirby, because I haven't even thought about that in decades, literally. Like that, I remember that time because I remember a couple of the titles. I'm only a kid, right? I'm only like a young man, I should say, and a lot of the cool titles that I liked were gone all of a sudden. Like Commandy, I liked Commandy. I think wasn't that around the time it was.
Yes, but when Kirby left it kind of got weird. The last couple of issues were not like Kirby, but yeah.
I'm trying to think too if Warlord was at that
Time.
Warlord
actually survived the implosion. There's a great, like I said, Two Morrows did a great book on it back in 2018. That you'd probably enjoy that book. Actually, it's really good. Called the DC Implosion.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah, because I think we talked about the Legion of Superheroes too, and I'm thinking that. I'm probably wrong, but was Karate Kid part of that too? Wasn't that?
I think it kind of was. Yeah, it kind of was a bit of a victim of that. It really just didn't sell well, but yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's exactly it. I
remember
Vixen?
It sold well. Remember Vixen? She was going to get her own series.
Mm-hmm.
And then they drew it and wrote it and everything, and it just didn't happen. So they put it. You can find it in Canceled Comics Cavalcade, and that's the only place you can find her original stories.
Let me ask you this. Do you guys ever got a comic book that was called Kaliman?
How do you spell it?
Kaliman. No, it's an old series, and I mean like 50s, 60s at
Calaman or Caliban? Are you talking about Caliban?
How do you spell it, buddy?
Let me check the right spelling.
Mark D with a C.
Hey,
Mark D.
Hey,
no, after we figure out this Calman, I do want to get to Ella Gablis's question because this is a really good question.
Is that a comic? Yeah, it's a great question. Pablo, are you talking about from the 50s?
I want to share the screen.
So yeah, share away, dude.
That sounds like either a Dell comic or I don't know, or an Atlas or something. We'll see.
No, I don't know that one.
No, that's not an American comic, so I wouldn't know about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was amazing.
Wasn't that a Middle Eastern comic?
Looks like. Huh?
Yeah.
I've never even seen that one myself.
Never seen it, but
yeah, me neither.
If you can track it and just get a single issue, it's amazing.
Huh.
I hate to admit that is actually new to me in comic
books.
Oh no, maybe I thought I knew pretty much everything when it comes to comic books and there are a lot of hermano, that's pretty impressive.
Oh, there are a lot of comics from other countries we've never seen, dude. I mean, yeah.
True, yeah. I have a couple actually. Some of them are pretty valuable.
Yeah. Now, many of those other countries, they do have our comics, redone.
It had crazy art, man. Just look at this.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That is. That kind of reminds me of this artist who's done covers for a bunch of bands. He reminds me of his name's Ed Repka. Ed Repka. This reminds me of his style. I doubt it's him doing this, but the influence is definitely there, or at least similarity, I should say. I won't go with influence because they probably aren't even aware of each other, but there's definitely a similar style.
Right. Some of those old Gold Key covers.
Dude, there used to be so much creativity on comic books.
Huh. And these are old.
Right now,
so
right now you can only go to Japan or France. That's it.
Huh.
Oh, by the way, French comics. Parlez-vous français, mes amis?
Yeah.
Thankfully, no.
Je suis Canadien. There's some really good. Well, we know that there's some great French comics out there, right? Because there was a movie just recently, a science fiction movie a few years ago that bombed, and which was awful. I was really hoping that it would do very well because the comic books are just incredible. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I do not.
Mm-mm. Did you say that again? I couldn't hear after that.
French comic books. There's some really good French comic books out there. And there was a movie just recently that was
Valerian.
Very good. Yeah. See, I knew Clovey. I knew you'd get it.
Oh, that was an old com. That was yeah.
That's right, and they are incredible. If you for those out there
Incredible.
that want to pick up international comic books that are great, that's a really good one. Valerian, that whole
Yeah.
story is great, and
Valerian
Yeah.
is
really dropped the ball.
amazing.
I actually have a soft spot for the movie. I still
It
like
was
the movie.
sort of okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I hated the movie for a simple reason. I was looking for a new Star Wars. Valerian and the city of however it's called. It came just after what happened on Star Wars. And I was like, okay, I want this. I want something that reminds me to that. And actually Star Wars took a bunch of hints from the Valerian comics. So it was just a natural progression for me. Then I saw the movie
Valerian
and I
et
was
la
like,
cité de la mille planètes. It's Valerian in the city of 1,000 planets. It's
there.
yeah.
Wow.
It was boring. It was just
Yeah,
boring.
the movie had its faults. I mean, I when I saw, I only watched it the one time. So you liked it, though, thoughts?
I liked it. I didn't love it. I think that the characters were terribly miscast. But
Yeah.
from a man who's read the comic, it was a great comic. It's very much a science fiction. It's funny because we talked about that at the Legion Geek Gang video or live stream yesterday, right? We talked about the science fiction stuff and why I love Legion of Superheroes so much. It's the same as why I like Green Lantern so much. Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets is another one where it's very much a great science fiction story that really drags you in and get you really invested in the storyline. And that's why I think that the movie kind of was too much big explosive special effects and the
Yes.
casting was bad, and I think they could have picked better actors, but it's too bad because it's still a pretty good movie, but it was like a $200 million movie, and
They
I,
tried
I
to
I don't know if it even got its money back.
they
doubt
tried
it.
to pull a Doctor Strange, to give a striking
Oh, good point.
visuals,
Yeah.
to flabbergast everyone, and it didn't work. Doctor Strange has a special magic. By the way, that's a pun. In the movie is something strange. Another pun, but yeah, it's a great movie. Even though it's not a superhero movie, technically, it's not a magic movie either. Is this incomplete beast that is just enjoyable. Valerian
Right.
had the striking visuals, but nothing else. There was not meat to enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
All right.
shall we tackle that question? Or
Yes,
see my-
let's do this for Elagablis.
Go for it. Well, you're the show. I'll go last, man, because I got to think of something.
Okay, I'm gonna go for this one. I'm gonna go for God, I don't know. I can't. I don't remember if he was 80s or 90s, but he was a character I like. Darkhawk. I liked. I mean,
90s.
90s. Yeah,
90s,
I like.
90s.
I like it. I always liked Darkhawk. God, who else? Is Booster Gold really anymore?
Yeah,
anymore?
Boosters.
80s, 90s. He said around sometime, not like the
I think
I
it was
haven't
late
seen him much, though.
70s.
He's not like around like he used to because that was the old DC and they didn't want to stay away from.
Well,
that.
he's blonde,
Because
blue-eyed,
he's-
and white.
No.
Yeah, that's true. They got to repair that. Yeah.
Yeah,
he spends stupid amounts of money to just be a pimp, basically.
Yeah.
You can
Oh,
have
man.
that. If you are going to have a pimp, it will be a black and it will be feminized as hell. I don't know how
Yeah.
the new pimps in media are going to work. They don't.
no.
They just don't. And there's movies that take this concept to the most amazing places. I really need you to watch Black Dynamite.
I would want to see that.
Black Dynamite.
It's a
That's
kung
what
fu
I-
movie. It's a black exploitation like movie because it's making the 2010s. So it's newer, but the feeling and the story and everything is from the Nixon era, and it's based in black exploitation movies, and it's hilarious. It's the best anti-SJW movie you can get, and it was made by black people doing black jokes. Is You gotta see it.
Is it like
I don't want-
Shaft?
Oh, I
Oh,
remember
look,
one.
yeah.
I got another character I remembered. All right, I think he is the 70s or maybe early 80s. He's a really cheesy Spider-Man villain named Slide.
Oh my
I was
god!
always a fan of the
That's cool.
Z-list Spider-Man villains.
Slide.
Yeah.
Slide.
Slide. I have that comic.
Man.
I have his first appearance.
I thought you were going to say Jack of Hearts, so you got me.
Oh, there's one of my
man.
old-time '80s favorites.
Jack of Hearts, you don't see
I-
him no more.
I can't
No.
remember what Slide is. I can't remember Slide was 70. I think 80s.
I think it's 70s, but you could be 80s actually. Man.
I'm literally gonna
But
look
he's
it
a
up
baddie
right
though.
now.
He's a baddie.
Yes, he is. I've always loved those super cheesy Spider-Man villains. There's characters like Mirage, this is like, or the Iguana, stuff like, which is basically just a carbon copy rip off of the Lizard. I was always a fan of those really super cheesy villains, and yeah, you don't really hear from characters like that anymore.
No.
I love the cheese factor. As a hero villain,
Right.
cheese factor sings out to my heart.
I have a
it's
soft
music.
spot.
Voltor are the most cheesiest supervillains you can get. Also, let's just remember that Dr. Octavius banged Aunt May.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Which one, Thoth, were you about to mention?
Yeah, what
I'm
were you got,
sorry.
Thoth?
It's a guilty pleasure kind of
Uh-oh.
character, and it's funny because it's a Marvel character. Well, there's two. Can I mention two?
Yeah.
Okay, it's funny because they're both Marvel characters, but I'm more a DC guy because I'm a very much Golden Silver Age DC comic fan. Like, well, I mean, we talked about how Green Lantern and the Legion of Superheroes are my favorite, but
Yeah.
from the '80s, Dazzler.
Wow.
I know
Oh,
Dazzler.
yeah.
I thought you were apologizing up front.
Allison Blair.
I was like,
Allison Blair.
Every
seem
time
like
I
you're
see her,
apologizing up front. Go ahead.
every time I see her, I start hearing like ABBA and disco music in the background in my head. Like that costume, her powers were turning sound into light and stuff. And it's funny. It's an old X-Men character too. That's one of my guilty pleasures. Every time I see Dazzler now, I smile. And for those of you who have watched the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in the last few years, a character was very disappointed that never made it to the stage. I think they really dropped the ball on several characters. We could talk about Captain Marvel, the real one.
The
We
real
can talk
Marvel.
about
the
Thank you.
actual Marvel.
Yes,
Marvel.
the real
Yeah.
characters. Like there's so many
love them.
great Guardians of the Universe characters. There's of course him and her, Warlock. There was great characters from the 70s and 80s that were just a big fan of. But there's one character within that theme that I'm so disappointed we haven't seen, and I think Jed will really appreciate this as a fanatical fan of Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, Howard the Duck, but Pip the Troll.
Oh
Troll.
yeah.
I
The
don't know,
last
Pip the
time you
Troll.
saw him was an Infinity Gauntlet in Infinity Watch.
That's right, with
So-
the cigar. He had the
Mhm.
cigar, and he had the pants that were all frayed, kind of like the Hulk
Okay.
pants, and he was all like he was this
Mhm.
a rough talking, smooth kind of character, and yeah, that's one of those ones that you don't see anymore, and those are those deep cut characters from the cinematic universe that they really should have introduced. That would have just added to the whole movie.
I'm just glad
Yeah.
you didn't say the human fly, dude.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't say the Human Fly. I have the first issue of that though. So
Oh,
I would say Booster, and I would say Howard. So
Yeah, I didn't say
Because-
Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew. So.
oh
I'm glad
yeah,
you mentioned
I
him,
was
though.
gonna say that. Yeah, Captain Carrot, dude.
glad
I
you
would say
mentioned him.
okay. Yeah, I would.
Oh,
Okay.
I remember Captain. Oh my god,
It would
Captain
be
Carrot. I actually
Captain
know who that
Carrot.
is.
It would be Captain Carrot. It would be Howard, and it would be Booster right now. So those are my three.
I always
that
had a soft spot for
Yeah.
Pig Iron, but yeah.
Pig Iron was cool, and then
You know-
they had Spider Pig. You know,
yeah, Peter Porker.
Spider Ham. Yeah,
Spider
Peter
Ham.
Porker.
Porker.
Was
Love
You know,
the
Nick-
pork.
funny.
Nick, you mentioned Slide. I'm just glad you didn't mention Razorback.
Razorback. Oh, no.
I can't. As much cheese as I love, the Razorback did not sing as well for me as Slide did. I love Slide, but a Razorback, no.
Hey, Nick,
no.
I bet you knew what Slide's move to get in the DMs was like, hey, I want to slide right in your DMs.
You know who I miss?
You almost made that sound semi-erotic there. He's
he's getting spicy there.
Oh, man.
What do you got, Floppy?
Oh, God. Well, of course, you know who we don't ever see much? Well, of course, by current comics. I miss poor old Simon Williams, Wonder Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good one.
I love Wonder Man.
Yeah, I got to say that one too.
Yeah, I mean, and you know who else I love that? Yes, you could say that he does pop up now, but I hate what they did to him, and I have not loved him since his Bronze Age run. Then would be the great Richard Rider Nova, the only Nova.
Oh, that's the only Nova.
Ruined him. They totally ruined him.
No other Nova.
And then the MCU ruined him too. The MCU
ruined
that whole
Xandar.
Yeah.
The Nova Corps. The Nova Corps, what they did to them in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which it's a likable movie and all that stuff. What they did to the Nova Corps, look, I know they're a blatant ripoff of Green Lantern. I know this.
Oh, totally. They totally
And I don't care. I love that. Everything about the first 13 issues of his series as a kid. I loved it so much. And then later, Carmen Infantino took over the art. Ugh. But the first, I like 13 issues of that are gold. And he even crossed over with Spider-Man, one of the first comic intercompany comic book title crossovers like that. It was like to be continued. I think I love Nova, the Human Rocket.
Dude,
he's one.
Richard Rider, man, I miss that character.
Wonder Man was a fellow West Coast Avenger, so
Oh, that was a great run too. That comic was a great run.
I didn't buy it.
West Coast Avengers for life, brother.
Pat S must win the award for best Avatar, because man, those Star Trek turtles.
Oh, yeah, right. Awesome. Star Trek Ninja Turtles. I'm gonna zoom. I'm gonna highlight his dude. Seriously, look at those figures right there, bro.
nice, man. Love it.
Talking about West Coast Avengers, how is that Marvel hasn't done the Defenders or Heroes for Hire?
A proper Defenders.
A proper
they haven't done
proper Heroes for Hire movie.
I love the Defenders, man. When you talk about good runs on comics, a surprisingly unsung run on Defenders. Obviously, the old series, right? But I got to admit that early 2000 series that Busiek and I usually hate Eric Larson, but they worked on one that lasted like 11 issues when they brought back the Defenders, which was hilarious and funny. It was good because this sorcerer, whose name eludes me at the moment, cast a spell on the original group, and the original group is Submariner, Silver Surfer, Hulk, Doc Strange.
Yep.
He casts a spell on them that whenever there's certain, and they hated each other, of course. And whenever a certain thing happens, they would, no matter where they are, they would be automatically transported all there at the same time.
Yeah, they were cursed.
They were cursed. Remember that? And they would pop up, and man, Hulk and Subby did not like each other. And Silver Surfer did not want to be bothered with a bunch of garbage like this, and Doctor Strange was annoyed with all of them, and they had other Defenders popped in too. It was so funny. Each issue opened up with like one of them narrating it, and when it got to the issue like 4 or 5, whatever it was, where the Hulk's narrating it, instead of saying like Submariner, Silver Surfer, but the name of the names, he would say dumb magician, Fish Man, Shiny Man, a whole bunch of basically, and he there's like an issue where Namor, he puts his hand on Namor, and Hulk does. He goes, "Don't touch me," and he puts his hand on him and get touch, and then knocks the crap. And they kept fighting, and they couldn't stop bickering. It was just like the Hulk punch in the MCU movie there, where he hits. It was like that.
Yeah. And it's funny because the secondary characters, it goes back to the question that was asked too here too. You have Nighthawk, You
I
have
love Nighthawk.
Hellcat. You have like all the secondary Hellstrom, Damon Hellstrom too, right? The son of
Yeah.
Satan. Like you have some great secondary characters.
Night
that was brought into
Thrasher.
that. Oh yeah, well
Night Thrasher. That's another one. Oh my God, what
the
happened?
Defenders
to him?
had that was a great comic, and and that nowadays most people think of the Defenders as being like Luke Cage and Iron
That's
Fist
so
and stuff,
aggravating.
but
I mean, that show should be called Marvel Knights or something.
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
That's
agree.
what I
Marvel Knight.
say. The
Good
proper
night, Snorta
Defenders.
Poopus. Thanks for hanging out.
But yeah.
good night, Snortapoopus. I know that with the problem with doing a Defender show is you've really only introduced 2 of those characters. We haven't seen Namor in the MCU or on the TV show, and we haven't even seen, of course, one of the Silver Spacefarer himself, right? The Silver Surfer. So.
Norrin
And
Rail.
without Namor, you can have the Illuminati. Without the Illuminati, there's a bunch of stories that make no.
Well,
We
yeah,
need the
well, you get-
Fantastic Four for that too, because you don't
Yeah.
have Mr. Fantastic either.
And they've
Yeah.
ruined Valkyrie. So
And you need
Yep.
the X-Men. You need the X-Men too because it's part of the Illuminati too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And you that's right, Claude, because you said you've eliminated Valkyrie too, because there's the blonde hair, blue eyes again, right? The
they were just
original
not
Valkyrie.
Brunhilde.
No, that's not Brunhilde.
No, it
And,
isn't.
but that kind, you know what was so good about the Defenders though, was because especially the old school. I mean, I like that series we were just talking about, but even going back to like in their original form, it was fun. They were a group, but they weren't a group. Doctor Strange, they used to have to trick the Hulk into helping them because
It was like
he
the
yeah.
18
the
where
brutish
they had
Hulk.
to drug Mr. T to get him on a plane.
Exactly.
I pity
That's
the
a good
fool
one.
that drugged me, and they're like,
They would have to trick him into stuff, and then he would do that, because they weren't like the polished like the Avengers or the FF or even the X-Men. They didn't have much like a headquarters other than the Sanctum Sanctorum, where they would meet up with Doctor Strange every once in a while because he would get them together when he needed them, when he needed muscle, and they needed the Hulk, and they would talk him into it. But they did become close, like a family. Later with Kyle Richmond, Nighthawk. I love Nighthawk because he was just like this rich guy who was bored and wanted to be a superhero.
It's like a Batman knockoff.
That made me think of another. If you'll indulge me, another answer to that question.
Yeah, go for
You
it.
know who I
dude.
miss? Has anyone here? And I hope I'm not being too obscure.
Yes.
Go
anyone
as
here-
obscure as possible.
Ever heard of the Thunder Agents?
Yeah.
Oh my
haven't.
goodness.
Yes.
Wow.
Let me
Thunder
tell you
Agents.
something. Right now, if anyone here could draw, and if we wanted to, we could make our own Thunder Agents comics because they're in the public domain and no one owns them. And they're idiots.
Yeah,
They
I
tell you
know.
they do, they don't.
Oh.
They've changed hands of comic book companies so much. But what I love about them is this, even though to use the higher, I hate the United Nations, but Thunder stands for, the acronym for the Higher United Nations Defense Enforcement Reserve. It's a superhero comic from the 60s that when Wallace Wood and Steve Ditko and a lot of guys broke off from Marvel, they started Tower Comics with someone, forget the guy's name, and Gil Kane and a lot of other people worked on it. The thing about the Thunder Agents, Nick, is they do have superpowers, but they almost all come from technology. Nobody got bitten by anything radioactive or got gamma rays or anything like that. Dynamo, for example, is this agent who has a belt that gives him super strength and partial invulnerability. Their main scientist is a guy who's like 80 years old who's built this robot body that he can put his mind into because his body dies, and now he's stuck. No man transporting his mind to android bodies, similar to the Vision. They have a speedster, but again, it's a technological. They're all belts that they use their powers. And his lightning, their speedster, it's making him age every time he uses his power. The Thunder Agents was a great comic, but it was against Silver Age Marvel and DC. Didn't have a chance, and it kept being brought back later. It's been brought back. It's changed hands. I can't even name all the companies that have done them, but I love them.
Wow.
I love.
That's
the
like
Thunder
RMB
Agents.
talking about Atari Force.
Yeah,
whenever he talks about Atari
Dude.
Force, like,
He did like Atari Force,
dude.
didn't he?
I have all the issues of Atari Force, dude. Like seriously.
that was a great
I-
comic. I have.
It was.
I think I have the first. Well, it wasn't very many issues.
No, it wasn't.
like 10
It
or
was-
something.
It was. I think it was like 10 or 12 issues.
Yeah. I think I've got
Jose-
the first 3 or 4, but I love
I-
that first issue because the cover was awesome.
Well, dude, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, one of the greatest DC artists of all.
There you go. See, I knew Clubby
I-
would have that in the
I
back
love
of his
that
hand
guy.
there.
I love that guy. Hey man, that guy, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez literally drew the DC style book. I mean, there is one from the 70s and 80s of how these characters to be drawn. It's a style. It's out there. I know a guy who had a copy. I mean, it's very expensive, and it's by. Well, you've seen his art if you've looked at a comic book from the 70s or 80s. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, whether it's
four name guy. That's why name guy. That's why I was called. That was my name for him. Four name guy.
I guess Garcia Lopez is his hyphenated last name.
I kind of figure, but I'm like, man, I'm just gonna call him four name because it's such a lengthy name. I'm like, man, whoo. Because I was like, yeah, no, he's super talented. He's still going to this day. I mean, I don't know how often is he, but I do got as far as at least 2019, I think 2019 to my knowledge. I mean, I've not really. God, I mean, when Tom King did what he did with DC, and I can't just say Batman, but with DC, yeah, it was just like, oh man, I'm trying to think. The last book I was reading, that was, I guess you could say, monthly saves I was truly enjoying was Hawkman, from Robert Venditti. That was actually I really enjoyed that, and it was cool because it was making like Carter Hall's life like not so convoluted with all his origins. He even got a Kryptonian origin of it. You got an awesome bromance issue, and now like a gay, like an actual just being buddies, hang out, being superheroes with Ray Palmer. Oh man, dude, that was like, it was just fun to see them being in the microverse, going after these big giant things in Ray Palmer's world. So yeah, it really just made like Carter Hall just like, oh my god, really, it just added a lot to his lore and it simplified it, and it was still very accessible. So, God, and I remember reading this book and thinking, man, this is like the DC book people should be reading, should be talking about. And I know not many people were reading, but the people who I do know were reading were speaking very highly of it. And I know even a lot of YouTube comic channels who were not into a lot of DC were talking about that book as well.
There you go. You're saying a fun comic actually got made by DC within the past 10 years? Come on.
Hawkman. Yep. Robert Venditti.
Wow. How'd that happen?
That's what I said. You could have swore he was, and it's great because you could read that book and not have to know anything going on in the DC lore.
Something that DC, because you know how much I hate the Screw 52 and how that started with all
of course.
DC.
Yeah.
The only DC books I bought after that, they did a series, and some of you guys may know about it. They did a Superman Adventures title, which was digital first, and a couple months later they would put it out on, in comic book format. Yeah, and they were Superman short stories. They did it with Batman and then Wonder Woman as well. And what I liked about it, and I bought it, is because they were little short stories that had nothing to do with any kind of continuity, and they were all real Superman. It was not Screw 52-ish at all, and it was taking place. In other words, the writers were free to put a story anywhere they want and just tell it. And there were some really good ones. They're all great, of course. They had different creative teams, and a lot of these people were not people I'd heard of that much. But for a while, I think it was called Superman Adventures. I forget. No, not Superman Adventures. That was the animated one.
Superman Adventures sounds like the animated series.
One. Yeah, I forget what it was called.
That shit was good though.
Yeah, but this comic had a lot of good ones. Then they did one and something to do with Dark Knight, a Batman one, and like I said, there was a Wonder Woman for a while. None of them, they weren't all perfect, but I love the short story format for these characters. Sometimes you don't get bogged down with any kind of continuity, and you could just read and you could tell a very interesting short story with especially Superman and Batman as well. Really, to be honest, with those three characters, you could do it. And they went along for a little while. They came out. Maybe like 2012. The only thing is there was even woke crap back then because they had a story that was going to be in there by Orson Scott Card. And because he has certain views that people don't like, he got canceled, and DC got bullied into not publishing the story.
See, it's funny you mentioned that because like I was rereading recently the Jeff Johns Green Lantern. Now I'm at the arc where it's the one at Hal Jordan, where Amon Sir or Amon Sir,
Aben
Sir.
Sir.
Yeah, the son of
Amon Sir. Okay.
Sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
son.
Sorry.
He's after a ring because Hell had a whole fight with a bunch of terrorists, and and Hell did a speech or talked about a speech that he's influenced by from a more right leaning point of view, and I know that's where Hal's character has been, I guess you could say, more depicted. It's just funny, like, because nowadays that would not fly at all in the book. It would not come out. That line wouldn't even be a thought.
No.
So I'm not going to say the guy who it is in particular, but I was just like, and it's just one of those things where I forgot about that. Like, looking back, I'm like, oh wow, this would never come out today just because of the name involved. Just man,
but yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you're twigging me there because you're talking about Green Lantern, and I've been a Green Lantern collector since Showcase. So I only have a handful left to collect from the entire Green Lantern collection. So, but I'm a Green Lantern fan. But the point I'm getting to is the Morrison run that was just recent. And so, that run that you're talking about, Flava Flav's there, was actually not bad, but it gets a lot worse. It continuously goes downhill here until it gets. They really, like, Morrison tries to take it and throw it into this high end science fiction kind of story, which just gets confusing, whereby he dies,
he
and
loves
comes back
to do
life
that
again, and then there's these fantasy elements where he goes to this planet where the ring doesn't work that Aben Sur set up, and then he has this the antimatter universe comes in where these nigh omnipotent beings are trying to and it's like every issue you go, wait, you have to almost read the last issue just to follow what happens in the first splash page of the next issue, and then it goes off the rails again. It was awful, and I get that he was trying to bring more science fiction-y kind of stories to Green Lantern, and which it's really conducive to that because it's a science fiction story, but it made no sense, and so it just tells me that it's an artist trying to be a writer when he could actually just stick to being an artist and not write and let somebody else who's a better writer write the comic.
Who's writing that now?
Well, the last one
Morrison's not on now. It's
not anymore. Nope.
Yeah.
It's
God, it's that Jeffrey Thorne guy who's writing John Stewart. He's writing John Stewart, and I don't know where Hal's going off in the world. Probably on another side mission somewhere. And I read the first arc of the Grant Morrison stuff, and like, I'm like, I couldn't even remember what was happening because I was just so lost in it. I'm like, bro, it's all the future
state crap, right? It's
this is pre-future state. This is we're talking 2018 because and then because once
Jeff Johns, are you talking the end of Jeff Johns' run, or are you talking
Morrison Lantern the first 12? I read the first arc and I was so confused. I'm like, I can't even remember what happened because I was just like,
you and
I
me
felt
both
so lost. I actually felt stupid. Like, I thought to myself, like, am I really that dumb? Like, what's wrong with me? But at the same time, then I go back to Hawkman. I'm like, okay, Hawkman has a convoluted history, but either Venditti is just making this so accessible and I'm noticing it, or Morrison's not doing something right. And clearly is Morrison not doing something right. And Elagabalus just tipped me some sweet money.
Nice.
Thank you, Elagabalus, for being excellent. Let's go see what's at the message. Elagabalus here. All right, where are we at? Nick Weiser and panel and chat. Thanks for revealing your favorite, albeit obscure heroes. It's hard asking relevant questions because I know so little about comic books. Every bit of knowledge helps. Please use the tip to pursue your fast food fetish. Well, thank you, Elagabalus. I gladly will.
Is that a Popeye's chicken sandwich or what?
Actually, I'm going to be doing the Culver's chicken sandwich. Apparently, They come out with the chicken sandwich too. Everyone wants to compete with Popeyes now. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, now I gotta try that out. So that's gonna be. I'm gonna do Culver's chicken sandwich next. So keep an eye out for that and my Wendy's T-Rex burger. It's gonna be great.
Lugabulous is awesome though.
Yeah, I like the Popeyes chicken sandwich though.
Oh yeah,
I had a couple of those the other day. I had to have two of them.
Wait, you said
Dude,
Wendy's T-Rex sandwich? Oh, that's with the like eight
the
patties or something. Nine patties. Oh my god!
All Thunderhawk.
That will be a video, man versus food. And I
Did you buy a defibrillator to go with it after you eat it, or what?
Oh, not necessary. Not necessary. For me, not necessary. Rod Thunderheart.
All Thunderhawk.
Yeah.
You know what? I've been picked it. I'm obsessed with trades and hardcovers, and I've been picking up a lot of them recently. And I don't know. Sometimes I go to this place called Ollie's, which I don't know if you have an Ollie's near you, Nick, or any of you.
I know what it is, but I don't have one near me.
And if any of you do, they have the books, a pretty big book section, and it's one of those places where it was like one of those discount type stores, whatever. Where you could the dirt cheap prices, and they got a lot of comics, trades, hardcovers, stuff like that. When I say dirt cheap, they got archives for like $7, $8.
Mm-hmm.
They've got omnibuses. I picked up a while back a Guardians of the Galaxy Solo Stories omnibus, and it has all the origin stories of all the characters. I mean, from the Bronze Age. I mean, all the stuff. And it's huge. $20. That's a $125 cover price or something like that. How
do they stay in business with those prices?
Because they overprint a lot of that stuff. I mean, that's years old now. That's from 2014. A while back, I picked up a $225 book for $40. It was a 75th anniversary Captain America Vibranium edition. It's about 2.5 feet tall. It's over 20-something pounds. You need a wheelbarrow to get it out of the store. And this reprints old stuff. But I mean, for $40, this is ridiculous. So I've been, every time I go there and pick up, they pick up something they have. Mm-hmm. I'm not every time, but they got a lot of stuff. And again, you get some of these, some really good trades for like $3. And and some hardcovers for like $6 and things like that. It's got the Miracle Man Volume 2 hardcover for $6. But I've also been ordering on the in-stock trades. I ordered. Are you familiar with the series Superman, Batman Generations by John Byrne?
Yep.
I got that.
Just got the omnibus of it, which has both the first 2 4-issue miniseries and the 12-issue series after that. Now, I never read it because of a lot of my prejudices and anger towards John Byrne. But recently, after the passing of our dear departed friend Mark C., who was the biggest John Byrne fan ever, I went ahead and ordered it, and I'm just like, you know what? It's been long enough. I guess I should finally probably read this thing.
You know what got me searching for omnibuses and stuff lately?
What?
It was a video you had the other night too. You were talking about the John Carter Warlord of Mars omnibus, the Marvel one. When you guys were talking about the other night, I went looking for it because I only have
expensive, dude.
A handful of the issues, but I remember reading them as a kid, and I know I've read them all, but I couldn't find them. I went looking through my comic boxes, and I went under J, and I started going. I was like, oh, I only have like 6 or 7 issues of that run. There's like 25 or 26 issues of the John Carter Marvel issue.
Yeah, it's like 24, 25 something. Yeah, an annual or something.
Yeah, and I went looking, and I was like, oh, I thought I had all of them because I wanted to read them again because of your stream, Clubby. And
sorry,
and then
no, he's not.
Then I went to Amazon and I googled it, and it was like $250, and I went, what?
And then after that, the idiot, my jerk off friend Minimus, who was on the stream with me last night, to be an a-hole, he posted some pictures of it on my Facebook Clobber Times page.
I saw that
from it. Yeah, jackass. And the good news is, even though I would love to have that, and he got a couple of them dirt cheap, and he likes telling me that. A lot of the art is by Carmen Infantino, but he was kind of not as good. So at least it would be great to have, but the art is terrible. To be honest, only the first issue has some decent art, I think, by Gil Kane and Dave Cockrum on the cover. But after that, at least the art's kind of lousy. So
it's like the Battlestar Galactica run for Marvel too, eh? I love the story. Yeah, I love the story. The art's kind of fun, and it's one of those 80s comics too that I look back and I'm like, I wish I had that entire run.
Yeah, there are trades, but because of certain things, they can't really do it a hardcover. They're only like 23 issues. I remember being I had just gotten a subscription to that. I got for Christmas that year. It was just like 1979 or 80. I got a subscription, and the comic got canceled like 5 issues into my subscription. But the Walt Simonson ones were great.
I love the Star Wars run on Marvel. I love that.
That's actually pretty valuable too.
I have most of that run too.
Those issues are going pretty good if they're in near mint condition. Yeah.
But I love an omnibus though, man. I'm a sucker for any trade or omnibus. They're so expensive. If any of you are interested in omnibuses and stuff, if you wait, yes, you'll get burned sometimes, like Thos is talking about with the John Connor omnibus, but usually they'll go down. Because
because I want to start getting some big book collections.
Usually the big ones will go down. Like there is one Master of Kung Fu that I don't think is ever going to go down. That first one with this movie coming out the back, it's just
it's going to raise up even more. Yeah,
I don't know about the others.
No, it's funny. That kind of answers Ella Gabos' question. If this movie hadn't been coming out, Shang-Chi probably would have made it under the list of characters who had not been used much in the last X amount of years. Because, I think to my knowledge, I think I only remember one time in the last, once, maybe twice. I'm going to go twice that he's used in the last 15 years. And if you want to go technical, 20, 25, 30, probably still like 3, 4, 5 times. So, yeah, he's been rarely used, especially in the 21st century.
Well, Nick, they teased Howard the Duck like multiple times already, and they still won't do any Howard movie,
Still won't.
You're still sticking with Howard, aren't you there, man?
Look, you don't want
Howard's awesome.
You don't want him touching Howard, buddy. None of us do.
I know. I'm just...
it's kind of a guilty pleasure movie. That's
I love the old one.
He misses the Duke boobs. That's all.
They have brought him back, Howard back over the past 20 years. It went some really terrible looking stuff.
Yeah, and he looked bad, and I was just like, oh.
Jed, remind me, who was the hot chick that was in that movie? I remember.
That was Leela Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't look anything like Beverly from the comics, but
and Jeffrey Jones was, God rest his soul because he's passed away.
Tim Robbins
that was one of Tim Robbins' first movies too.
Was he? Did he have the greasy haircut or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, he was the nerd with the glasses. He was Wellesley. He was like Wellesley. He's like.
He was pretty goofy.
Yeah. So
you do know that.
That was one of his first movies, though. Yeah, that was one of her.
Well, you know what happened with Howard the Duck? Steve Gerber, who created him along with Val Myrick or whatever, really got screwed over by Marvel. Well, creators usually just bent over and took it back then. He didn't. Yeah. He fought for a while. Then there was a lawsuit book that Eclipse helped fund for his, and they called it Foog as opposed to Friends of Old Marvel Foom. It was Friends of Old Gerber. And Jack Kirby helped start a comic called Destroyer Duck, which was a benefit book. This is the early 80s to help in the lawsuit Gerber had against Marvel to get Howard back, but it didn't work.
Oh, yeah.
I still have my own Howard Destroyer Duck somewhere.
Oh yeah,
and he was fighting an evil company called God Corps. That was Marvel.
I was never able to get that though. I was like, I saw it.
Kirby drew the first issue, and it lasted a couple.
I know, and I was like, I want that, but we couldn't find it where I was at, so I was just like, oh.
Yeah, I ordered heavily on that side.
Steve Mitchum, good night, buddy. Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate
Thank you, Steve.
Good night, bud. Man, it's only 8 o'clock. 8. It's not even 9 o'clock there yet, man. What's wrong?
Yeah, he usually stay. Hell, he's got to rest up for tomorrow for Star Trek. So.
There you go.
What?
So Steve Gerber got kind of screwed over with Howard the Duck.
Yeah, he did. So
then he actually wrote Secret Wars.
Yeah, Jeffrey Jones passed away years ago.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, Gerber went back to Marvel and wrote that terrible Secret Wars 2.
Yeah, he did. That Secret Wars 2 with the Beyonder was bad.
Secret
with
Karens
the bell bottoms or whatever. Yonder with bell bottoms.
or Karen Wars.
Yeah.
And then that brought in the new universe, you know.
No, I think that happened after the new universe, or it was around the same time. But that's
No,
new universe.
was,
were we talking about that last night? How terrible that was.
Yeah, we were talking about it because it was Secret Wars, and then that brought in the new universe.
Well, Secret Wars 2, he had the Jerry curl there too.
Yeah.
Secret Wars 2 was even worse than the first one. Yeah.
There was a story that was actually interesting. Peter Parker was he met Miles Morales on the Ultimate Dimension. Then he came back to the 616 and he was about to go looking for Miles Morales to see what happened to him in the main continuity. Then they just got Miles Morales from the Ultimate Universe and the whole storyline got dropped.
Yeah.
They have a tendency for that. I mean,
yeah, they do that
right.
a lot. They do that a lot.
Yeah.
Over the years, there's been Wolverine storylines where you're like, "Hey, this is gonna be cool." Yeah,
Oh, man,
never
they
hear.
made
You'll never
Wolverine
hear.
a bitch.
Yeah, they never hear about it again, or like.
Remember
Like, there was an
dead?
Avengers. There was an Avengers storyline that I
yeah.
was following, and then it just dropped off, and I was like, "What? Did I miss a book?" I was like, "No."
Wolverine
died, and how did they go about his death? They decided we're gonna release even more Wolverine books.
Yeah, I was like,
he died like a bitch. He died enclosed on adamantium like a little bitch. He became an statue to failure.
Yeah,
Then they
and he got
him
enclosed
back.
in adamantium, and then they brought him back 2 years later on. So
There was a webpage where you can go to see if Wolverine was still dead, and it was only a photograph of, a scan of Wolverine flipping burgers with a small text saying yes.
Yeah.
Until he came back alive, and they just put no.
Oh, and how about those terrible flame claws he had when he came back?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, and taking away Wolverine's healing factor, the regenerative abilities, was kinda interesting, but then they killed him and closing him on adamantium. So, are you not going to do some gruesome, real, interesting death for Wolverine? Just dying like that?
I thought it was a bitch way to go out. I was like, yeah come on, dude. I was like, why?
It's because it wasn't. Oh, man. And then he came back because, of course, he did. And he's been a bitch.
But
since.
Jeffrey Jones, Pat, that was 2019. He died, I think. What year? Because he's been dead.
2015 or something like that.
Yeah, Jeffrey Jones has been dead for a long time. A while back. It was a while back because I was like, dude, he's in Jeffrey Jones is in some of my favorite movies like Stay Tuned and Howard the Duck and a bunch of other movies. Yeah, he was in Ferris Bueller. So
are you talking about Rooney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can I speak with Ed Rooney?
No.
Ed, hey, Rooney.
He was the principal, yeah.
I want my door at the front door, and that's Mr. Peterson to you.
And Beetlejuice.
Yeah, well, it was Beetlejuice too. Like he was in some of my favorite movies. Like,
well, I suppose you do owe me an apology.
I'm being Cameron and all that, by the way. So
yeah, I know you're being Cameron.
Rooney.
I heard the echo of that. Let me do it again. Rooney.
Ollie's is not a restaurant here anyway. It's a different. I think
IGN did confirm that Captain America 4 is in the works.
I'm like, I was like,
just don't see it.
I'm
not gonna go see it.
That is dead. That project is dead.
And like, they get to preach us to more that we're evil and then go around and go, but we still want your money, but you're still evil bastards.
You're still evil, but we
want your money. But we want your money.
We hate your guts.
It's kind of like the Cardman sketch where he talks about religion. He goes, "Well, God loves you, but He hates you at the same time. But He loves you." You know.
Did you all watch the series? Did you finish? The finale was last night. Did you watch it all?
It was god awful, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. By the way, I should have said that's Ollie's discount. Ollie's bargain something or other. We'll say.
I wish they had a place like that out here.
Ollie's bargain outlet.
Yeah, I wish they had a place out like that out here. Yeah.
But yes, everyone's watch that thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I even said this because Gary said something. I was like, watch, it's even gonna be worse than the thing how bad WandaVision was, and I was right. I was just like,
it had a similar ending.
And it, like you said, the women got away scot-free doing some evil, really fucked up evil shit at the end.
They ruined Sharon Carter. That really makes
Dude, they really
she's
Agent 13. Oh man.
Yeah, Agent 13 indeed, and they ruined her.
Yeah, they're like,
I love her.
Super soldiers may be off the table, but we're gonna have blueprints to all the government secrets and everything else. I was like, what? I was like,
didn't even look as good as she was so damn. She was just really a great character, and of course, the hottie in Winter Soldier and Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I be disappointed?
She did look different.
Should I be disappointed that John Walker had the best character arc in that TV show?
Zemo was pretty good too.
I was rooting for him last night. Yeah, I was rooting for him last night. I went from fucking hating his guts to I was like, come on, John, go and save that car.
Zemo was one of the best characters in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zemo. But in this show, as bad as it is, at least Zemo was more like the actual villain, similar to Baron Zemo and Winter. I mean, I don't know. He's so much. Now again, they're probably setting him up for Thunderbolts.
Yeah. They're setting him up for Thunderbolts.
They're gonna screw up Thunderbolts, and they're gonna bring in the Dark Avengers. Yeah.
Also, they mess so bad with Baron Zemo. Right now they are all against Nazis and everything, and Baron Zemo is no longer, he was a proper Nazi.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, guys.
Okay.
Elagabalus, thanks for hanging out, and thanks for the tip.
Indeed.
I appreciate you always coming on to our streams. You are awesome, dude. Be well and have a good sleep. All right, go on, Pablo.
Have a great night, sir.
That's it.
Yeah, have a great night, brother.
Yeah, Baron Zemo was kind of a stupid character because he got his mask glued to his face because he was an asshole. He was still, an amazing character in a lot of things. And the Thunderbolts, especially when the first Civil War came up, it was amazing. The run for Thunderbolts was great.
I would agree with that because I have all the issues of when the Thunderbolts came out. I was like, this book's awesome.
I tried to get into that comic. It was okay. I don't like Mark Bagley much. I know it was Busiek, and Busiek's done a lot of way better stuff than that for me. But
I really did like it when it came out, though.
Yeah.
So,
but no, Baron Zemo is not even from Germany. He has nothing to do with Nazis.
Yes, nothing.
Yeah.
So they are on this campaign against Nazis, and they lost the best character they could have had, because right now Baron Zemo, the MCO Baron Zemo, ended up as the hero of the story.
Yeah.
This Baron Zemo isn't a Nazi, but his father was a Nazi scientist that was a villain against Captain America in World War II. He was one of the allies of the Red Skull and one of the initiators of Hydra. But that's comic book. Obviously, the MCU is completely different. Because there was Arnim Zola, there was Zemo, and there was Red Skull, which was the triumvirate, right? And it's an interesting character that they've created here for
the real Strucker. Yeah.
Of course, absolutely.
They were doing the Falcon and the Winter Soldier to rub our noses in that they are fighting against Nazis, and they had as the enemy a great character related to Nazis.
Yeah.
And since in this version he is not a Nazi, they screwed this up so badly.
Yeah,
It
I
was-
gotta see. Oh, go ahead.
No, it is that. It's only that.
Yeah.
They screwed this up.
I was gonna see what Mark D said. I was
I
like,
think they
yeah,
kind of dropped the ball a bit too, because
they did.
Because there's a lot of stuff there that they could have drawn on the comic book wise too. That whole Masters of Evil idea.
Yeah.
And what they did was they created Zemo as this individual villain when they could have really pushed a lot of the. I don't know why they dropped the whole Hydra issue. We have the Contessa. By the way,
That's Madam Hydra. Yeah,
because
that's
America's
Madam
the new enemy.
Worst
That's why.
casting ever.
Oh, absolutely horrible.
You had a
Julia
Seinfeld.
Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh my
They
God!
can't even
Worst
walk
casting
right.
ever.
Mm.
Like she
They
should be
can't-
seductive, like mature.
Yes.
She should be a mature woman, but she should be hot and seductive.
Did she have it like a fling with Nick Fury, for God's sake?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Yes.
Dude,
And she actually was she wasn't really evil all the time.
No, she
Yeah.
wasn't. She wasn't evil.
The real
She
one.
was. What's a good word to describe her? Opportunist.
Fatale. Yes.
Yeah.
By
Femme
the way,
fatale, I love that.
Gantry
Very
was
fond
a
of you.
character on Count Patula.
That when I saw Julie Louis-Dreyfus today doing that, I got as she started talking and started saying those. We're not really saying Contessa, but she's giving the name. I was like, you gotta be. Because as soon as I saw her, I was like, is she gonna be? If she's Contessa, if she's
you know,
As soon
holy
as I saw the
crap.
hairdo, I knew that's
Yeah.
who it was.
Yeah, and it's like, oh
But-
my God,
but you know, she plays the same character she played on Veep, though. That's the
probably.
same.
Yeah.
She's playing the character the same way she played on Veep.
Ugh, terrible.
Yes.
And that show wasn't all that great either, you know.
No.
So
Well, she tried to be
awful.
funny and witty and
And she wasn't.
smarmy, and it
Yeah.
just turned out to be like this
Cringy.
cringy. Yeah, good word for it.
Yeah, right.
There,
No.
she's terrible, man.
like, sweetheart, Seinfeld's over. Your time was back a long time ago. So
Oh,
Yeah.
this is such a cringe thing. This whole show.
Yeah.
Every episode has
Well, and
higher
then-
levels of cringe.
here and then, okay, we got
The
Loki coming out.
speech was
So
the-
you know
oh.
when
Yes.
that comes out, if that bombs really bad, Loki's gonna go ballistic on his channel. Like
Yes, he will.
he's gonna tear it apart. Like
But you're right.
actually, I'm hoping it's bad. I want to see Loki just go
Yes, we
ballistic.
will.
I just want to see him go ballistic on
But
the
Nick,
show.
you're right. Dude, that speech. Oh my
Oh.
God! I could not believe they could film that with a straight. They're filming that, and people are on the set laughing their ass off. Dude,
Yeah.
absolutely moronic it was.
It read like it looked like a speech read from some like current Marvel writer
Yeah.
on Twitter,
Yeah, oh,
and he
definitely.
downloaded the information to his brain, stealing from the Young Ripple playbook. Downloaded the
Yeah.
information to his brain, and then repeated the words said. And I'm like, good God! I mean, Ripa's right with that comment. They repeat that same talking point. They download into your brain, then they repeat it, and then pass the message on. Oh God, it's so
the whole
culty.
Falcon speech was, "I'm black." No shit, you are black.
Oh my God, the whole Black
Shocker.
Falcon. I
Let's
thought it
not
was funny.
Spoiler alert.
God, was it the second or third episode where the kid mentioned it? I was like, oh, it was funny for a lap, and then it just kept happening. It's like,
You mean Black Falcon?
oh, yeah, just the black.
Falcon. Oh.
It was funny the first time.
Well,
I
when the
thought
kid
it was funny.
said it was funny.
No, when
yeah.
the kid said it was
Yeah.
hilarious, but then it just kept going on, and I'm like,
It's very descriptive. Yeah, he's a
yeah.
Black Falcon, I guess.
That's for sure.
like, yeah,
And
yeah,
it's a-
we know.
He's not
It
even
was-
black. He is okay. Is the light blue Falcon? His costume is light blue. It's not even red, white, and blue. It's light blue. Baby
Yeah,
it
that
looks
blue.
like
white-
baby
that
blue.
white
It was
costume.
baby blue.
Yeah,
With DG.
Geek Tropology.
You see what
That white
DD said?
costume was awful. That
Yes.
white costume was awful.
It's really
It
The baby
was.
blue Falcon. That's what we have.
Baby blue.
Yeah,
Falcon.
Blue Falcon. See, you know, my take on legacy characters. Look, I don't like it pretty much. Bruce Wayne. And this is going to sound contradictory. Bruce Wayne's Batman. The
Yeah.
only guy that I have ever considered, and I'm including Azrael on this, to be worthy of a successor to wear that costume would be, for me, Dick Grayson, and I never want to see it happen. I know they've done it in later comics. I'm just saying, forget about that. I'm just saying he's the only one that I consider worthy, and yet, as a Batman fan, I have no interest in anyone. I don't. Yeah, I wish I hadn't because I hate it.
And here's my thing
wait
on
a minute.
this.
My only
Okay, go
person
ahead.
that I want wearing that
Go ahead,
costume,
do that
just for
again,
me.
Pablo.
I'm not speaking for anyone else.
Comic book.
I'm not speaking for anyone else, but it's
And
Bruce
yes,
Wayne.
I don't have it bought because this
Alright.
is something cheap that I got in a convention randomly. But
Okay.
yeah, the art in Israel was amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, go on, Clubby. What were you saying?
No, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. I wanted a statement about
go ahead.
legacy characters.
No, the thing is, DC. If there's any character that's a mantle, it's Robin. But not all this whole idea of What do you say?
No, go ahead.
This whole idea that all these characters are mantles, I strongly disagree. I know me and Thoth had this talk on Jake D channel with Captain America. Captain America is not a mantle. Thor is not a mantle.
No, it's not.
Even let's just play to that advantage, like these people who love to utter that talking point. Let's just, for conversation's sake, entertain that talking point. Why is it that we keep coming back to those characters, to Steve Rogers, to the Odin son? Why do we keep coming back to it if it's a mantle? Why do we keep coming back to them? There's a reason, because that Steve Rogers is Captain America. Thor is the Odin son. This is not even close for a dispute. They just want you to accept these other versions and just somehow to magically embrace it and don't question it.
Thor is a name. It's like
his literal name.
Well,
you get the hammer from a guy named Gary and you are no Gary. That's fucking stupid.
Well,
yeah, Thoth is Thoth. I'm the god. Like there's no mantle there, man. It's like Thor. It's like Flava Flavs. It's one of those things where it's who we are, right? It's not something you pass on. Thor is the name. If you have the hammer, that doesn't mean you're Thor. That just means that whoever you are, you just have a hammer now.
You
Beta Ray Bill isn't Thor,
right?
He's Beta Ray Bill.
Hammer.
Yeah.
You have a friend that is called Freddy, okay? And Freddy loans you his hammer. Are you now Freddy?
No, but a lot of nails will be hammered.
Yeah, exactly.
That was good, dude.
That's not how it works.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't just go and take someone's name from them. Like, that was the biggest crock of shit that Jason Aaron could do to a character or like ever. Like, really, really. And I'm telling you, it's funny because even though like the Odin son has been Thor again since, they are still trying so hard to push people to accept Jane Foster. They made her a Valkyrie instead, which thankfully I'm not getting any money to that. But it's so funny that it didn't work with Thor. Now they're trying Valkyrie. They just can't understand that people don't want this character as a superhero of any kind.
They just don't care. They want to sell whatever they want to sell, and they don't care if you buy it.
I understand what they're doing, though. I understand that a lot of these characters were created in the 50s and 60s and 70s, where unfortunately a lot of society was very white male dominated, and most of these superheroes that are so extremely popular are white male characters. So there are the exceptions, of course. There's female characters like Wonder Woman that's incredibly popular, but I understand that what they want to do is they want to create these characters, they want to change them and take them into their own bosom and make them their type of character. But what they want to do is they want to drag in the fan base with it. And then we've seen that fail several times, whether it's Star Trek, Star Wars, comic books, whatever, whereby a lot of us who are diehard fans like the characters the way they are. When you start trying to change them and make them, a mad woman with a box and a time traveler, it doesn't work. The Doctor is a male character. Thor is blonde-haired, blue-eyed Marvel Comics character. By the way, the original character is a ginger, so hashtag save gingers. I think that a lot of what's going on here is that since the political situation has changed and we want to see more strong female characters, absolutely. We want to see more diverse characters, absolutely. Let's create those new characters and then create that fan base but keep the original fans and keep the original characters so that they have those fans, and then just build the fan base with new characters. Let's do that. Let's get creative. Let's create new characters. But I understand why they're doing it this way, because when they create these new characters, it's easier. They're lazy. They're lazy.
They want to make the money off the name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The problem with these new characters is, well, the old fans aren't coming to enjoy those new characters, and those new characters aren't grabbing all those new fans, those mythical new fans that are out there waiting to just jump onto these new characters. It's not working, and that's what we're seeing in pop culture today. Is there's just those people aren't out there.
This is a perfect representation of what Marvel and Disney as a whole is doing. You have the perfect girlfriend. She's loyal, she's amazing, she will do anything for you, and you love her. Then you decide that there's many or plenty fishes on the sea. So you will try to cheat on her and mistreat her during years because you want to find the perfect woman. Then when you realize, and they will realize, that the fandom was the perfect woman, they will try to get back, and we will say, no, go fuck yourself.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely, dude. And once again, I think, what's her name? Gothix. If any of you guys know who Gothix is, if you don't, you should absolutely know. She's got a great YouTube channel, and she is a black woman. She talks about how she said when all these superhero characters are given the mantle, they're known as the black man who has to replace a white man. She said she feels that's even more disrespectful because you're saying that their black original created character was not good enough, that the only way they could be good is by living under the shoes of a white man, and you're giving them the sloppy seconds. And she's got a good point. I mean, yeah, Gothix is right, and I get where she's coming from on that, because I'm that way with the whole remakes thing. I don't like remakes. Just stock it, and that's the thing. I don't get why directors want to do remakes. You're going to live in the shadow of what the cast did before you. Why do you want to live in the shadows of them when you can just stand in your own shadow and do something that you can call your own? It blows my mind that, and they still sign up for these things to this day. Now we're seeing that take over in comics. It was dominant in movies, which it still is. But now, man, has it taken center stage in the comic books?
Yeah, they don't want something they don't want something their own. They want yours. It's different. If they wanted something for them, they will be doing it. No, they want yours. They want what you have, and you can have it because they want it. That's the mentality here, and they are destroying a lot of important characters, a lot of the mythology, just because they want it.
Exactly, Geek Tropology. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, see, when you're doing all this, it also sounds like as bad as the whole that I'm gonna say a dirty word here, and I apologize, guys. I mean, I even though Father Christopher Miller is not here, I still feel bad saying this. But The Last Jedi, with the whole the forces ever, they're making all these things a mantle and forces bear. They're making them participation trophies. It's just like you're taking away what makes a character unique and their own identity. This whole anyone could be any of these characters is ridiculous. Like, what? So we're gonna have Ted Kord be Bruce Wayne? I wish I'd rather have Ted Kord be Ted Kord. I don't need him to be Bruce Wayne.
I need him to be Blue Beetle.
I don't need him. Yes, thank you. And I don't
I
need Bruce
need the
Wayne to
blue
be
and
Ted
gold.
Ford. I don't need Bruce Wayne to try to wear a Blue Beetle outfit. No, thank you. I don't
That
need
70s
that.
that 70s rock fan, a clock is right twice a day, right?
Yep.
And
Except in Arizona.
and
shit.
what do you
Mike.
squeeze in there, Flava Flavs? What do you got there? You got a little orange little squeeze toy or what?
What is it,
Yeah.
the Human Torch?
Is that
Yeah,
your
from
Human
McDonald's.
Torch? Yeah.
Oh,
I
nice.
have that too. The night he showed it the first time, I
Nice.
was like, "Oh, dude, I have that."
That is awesome.
You like
Yeah.
flaming or
Oh, hey, you remember when the Phantom Menace movies on theaters and it was KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut that were doing promos? I think it was Pizza Hut I got this from, and they had the Yoda fortune teller, and and you could see like the little cube right there on the inside. Yeah, do the shake, ask the message. So this is how I was trying to predict my future for the longest time. The Yoda fortune teller. So
You decided to get married using that.
yeah, right. Dear
Yeah.
Yoda.
Should
That's
I get
something that I
married?
will actually do. So, Yoda, you are asking Yoda about marital issues. He may be right. He's Yoda.
It's funny because Mark D with a C has got a good point. That run actually wasn't too bad with the Jane Foster early on in that, but I like what they did with a couple of previous characters in the Thor mythos, where you give them a kind of a minor hammer, you send them on their way, and they're their own unique character, but they have some of that Thor mythos that's going on in the Marvel comics. You don't have to.
Thunderstrike.
Yeah,
Thunderstrike.
Yep.
Mhm.
Eric Masterson. Where's the other? Who's the one guy who had the stick? God,
You
I
mean
can't.
the Doctor?
Yes, the
Don
doctor.
Blake, you
God.
mean?
Donald
Don
Blake.
Blake.
Yes,
Yeah.
like I feel like Jane Foster's arc could have been received better if she was not called Thor. Like literally taking his namesake away from him was just that's a very
Stupid
dirty
garbage.
move.
Yeah, because it's his name. He's Thor.
Yeah.
And there was a comment too in the chat about Captain America. There is one Captain America. It's Steve Rogers. Period.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why it's not a mantle. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
like
Clobby, I
Clark
agree.
Kent is Superman. Diana is Wonder
Yeah.
Woman. Bruce is
Superman
Batman.
is
You know.
Superman. Wonder Woman is
Yeah.
Wonder
The thing
Woman.
about,
Batman is Batman.
Yeah.
look, if there's a guy worthy of being the successor, and if it were some sort of real life circumstance, Sam would be for sure, even more than Bucky. But he's the Falcon. You take an identity that he has earned and helped, and lived all of his life, and you take that away from him, and you make him. You're basically making a statement that he's not good enough to be the Falcon. The Falcon's not good enough to be an individual. He must change his name to that of someone else
Exactly.
to be accepted, and it's just garbage.
It is.
That's a great
Falcon
point.
was one of the very first black created Marvel comic book characters too. The Falcon's one of the
Right.
very first ones.
Not only that,
And now
after
you're
Black-
taking that away.
Yeah.
You're literally killing diversity by doing that.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely. Black Panther was the first. Black Panther was the first black character.
Well, yeah, the
superhero,
first.
But he was from another country. Remember, so the first American black superhero is Sam Wilson.
Nick,
Mhm.
check
It's mainstream comics.
that 70s rock fan.
Is it? Oh God, Geode. Oh my God, why is Geode a thing? Why?
Good old Geode.
I still like Bucky as Cap. So
Bucky was a great Captain America, but he was not Steve Rogers. He was
yeah, I know
his
he's
own
not
Captain
Steve
America.
Rogers.
That was
You know,
the
You
gun
know,
does not suit Captain America.
Steve is still Cap, but if they had to give it to somebody, I would give it to
yeah,
Bucky.
but
yeah.
the Falcon as Captain America was not acting as Captain America nor Falcon. He was trying to be whatever he was trying to be. Bucky
Yeah.
was Bucky as Captain America. He had the shield, he had the costume, but he was Bucky. He was doing
Yeah.
things his
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, that's true. He did do Bucky things.
Yeah, so
So-
it felt like something you could see, His friend died. He's the only one reminding from that time period. with the same ideals, with almost the same skill set, and he takes the mantle to honor his friend, but he's still Bucky. He's still his own person.
I remember when they were all on the run, and he was being very Bucky-ish. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And he had the shield with the other outlawed Avengers from the Civil War and everything. So yeah,
the Falcon stopped being the Falcon, but he was not Steve Rogers either. He was something weird. This gray mass without form, and that's what you can have a period when someone tries to cover for his friend, but that kind of makes sense in a lot of situations. And Iron Man had that with War Machine. War Machine for a time was Iron Man. That can happen. I can see that happening, but you have to show me Falcon being Captain America, wearing the shield, wearing the costume, but being Falcon, because he is he. You cannot take away the personality of the character with the costume. And
it's
that's
all
what
about
they did.
Intent as well. It's why they're doing it that has just as much to do with why it's terrible. It's they're not doing it because someone said, "Wouldn't this be an interesting story?" They're doing it for agenda purposes, and that's only the only motivation.
That's a good point too. Yeah, it would be one thing if they're really trying to say, "Oh, we're gonna do our damnedest to convince you with a story that's gonna sell you on this," but it's not that. They don't even lead with that when they market. It's just, well, it's all identity politics. I mean, I hate make it political, but we all know the reality of the situation. It's all politically charged, and then they'll try to deflect with it with the whole, well, comics have always been political, and then they'll try to go for the convenient answer.
Yeah,
the convenient, easy way out answer, and you got to challenge these people when they say, because they really truly believe that. I'm like, oh, let me guess, is your excuse gonna be Watchmen? Like, oh yeah, Watchmen's always been political. I'm like, dude, Watchmen was one. Yeah, Watchmen's good, but a lot of these people, once again, all information downloaded to their brain from Twitter without a thought. Watchmen was 12 issues, 1 year. Watchmen does not translate to every single comic ever. You can even look at a bunch of Captain America issues that were not political. Now, were there some political issues? Of course there were. But to say that they're always political, you were just being fed that information and you believed it, and you believed to a point where you let it convince your thoughts without actually looking into it for yourself. Let's just ignore the kid who collected Spider-Man. Yeah, let's just do
there's
that.
a huge mistake there. Watchmen was not political, was anti-political. It was anti every single brand of politics possible. Everybody was wrong.
Alan Moore was being very political with Watchmen in some ways. For example, he flat out hated Nixon, and he put Nixon in there as a joke. He flat out hated anyone to the right, and he put it in there. But he made it. But it wasn't his first primary reason for the story. He's actually going into it to deconstruct superhero myths and idioms.
Exactly, and every single superhero was a bunch of shit. Everyone.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was deconstructing.
Exactly.
But see, Captain America actually, Nick, has been used, and I'm talking even into the 70s, for political pounding sometimes.
Steve Gerber, sometimes, yes.
Steve Gerber did it. They did a flat-out story that pretty much made Nixon an evil Nazi, basically.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I mean, it's happened in comics.
Oh, yeah.
The Don McGregor Black Panther series, where you had the Black Panther fighting the Klan, for example.
Yeah,
not very subtle.
And that's true. But your key words were sometimes.
Exactly.
Sometimes and always are not one and the same.
Yes.
Now, if one said there have been times where there's been political moments, I would never contest that. I would never argue that, because that would be true. But to say always, you are clearly reading selectively or listening to selective information that only benefits your thoughts, your ideology, and cherry picking, and not actually looking into it to verify that that's true.
I would. The thing is, at that point, the editors running Marvel and DC at the time still had a job to do. They weren't activists, even if sometimes the stories they published were, and they would if they thought a story was coming to them that wasn't going to be up to snuff in terms of something they could sell, if they could get away with their messaging, they would sometimes. But if they didn't think that kids would want to buy it and read it and look at it and like the art and find the story exciting and compelling, it wouldn't get put out. It wouldn't get made. Whereas today, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, what nowadays does get rejected? Like you can see, there's a lack of keeping track of continuity in line. There's a lack of communication of there's constant delays. It seems like whoever's the one who oversees all the books going by is who has no balls, and they're just afraid to say no, because especially since they up the female presence in the business, well, I can't turn a woman down from any of her ideas, because if I do, I'll be called an istophobism, and I can't have that. So we have people who are spineless. They have no sense of leadership, and that continues to add on to the books, because no matter how much we want to trash on writers for doing this, their complicitness is only to a degree. The editors who see it through when it's run through to them, I feel like are equally as complicit, in some ways more, because they're the one who has to keep the continuity in line with each other. They're going to see, okay, does this fit the story, the context of everything? Yes, no. They allow it, and they're all like that too. It's one exact ideology. Otherwise, you're out of that business.
Pat S., just a quickie there. I know you mentioned that Steve Rogers hasn't been promoted to major in 7 years. Well, maybe he remustered and went on to the Navy side of things and became a captain over in the Navy. That makes him a colonel, Air Force or Army side. So maybe that's what it is.
I gotta say, and this is for me, and I've seen this when I was growing up.
Do it.
So I think Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen made things a little bit worse for us for later on.
Oh yeah, they did.
Well, yeah.
It's as much as they were good stories, they kind of screwed us in the end.
Yeah, everybody wanted
a lot of damage.
Yeah, they did a lot of damage to comics. We love them for the stories, but they did a lot of damn damage to the comics later on.
Everybody wanted to hear this. Oh my God, you are so deep. You are so interesting. No, you are not. Alan Moore is, but Alan Moore is crazy. He's the kind of guy I will not let in my house.
He is.
But I will let him talk all day long, just not in my house. It's that easy. But if you have depression, you are not deep. You are sad. You are not deep. Sadness and deepness and being deep are completely different.
Meanwhile, Snow is white and Moore is nuts.
Yeah. Before went totally nuts, Moore put out some really good stuff at DC.
He did some great stuff. In the 80s,
even
in the 90s.
Three of the three books that me and Mike like the most: The Man Who Has Everything, The Swamp Thing, and the last issue with Superman.
Whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow?
Yeah, and Whatever Happened to Man. Those are the three of his best books, in my opinion. That he ever did. In a
3.5 hour stream, I didn't cover all of his great stuff that they did a while back.
Yeah.
It was all about Alan Moore's work. So I once thought about writing a book about Alan Moore's best stuff, and some studied it so long, have all of it. So yeah, he did brilliant stuff.
Yeah, you know what's the funniest part of that? He hates everything.
He hates it all.
He hates it.
Yes, he does. He does. He's crazy.
But a psychopath can still be brilliant.
Yes, exactly.
At the time, he didn't hate it. I mean, now he does.
Yeah,
he's
he didn't hate
crazy.
Superman or any of that, but at the time, he did.
He's very bitter. He is very bitter, and he's a bitter old magician.
Watchmen is done because he hated his run on normal comics. He hated every single second of working for DC.
Yeah, he did, but he cared about what he was doing when he did Watchmen. And then a few years later, when things were getting too grim and gritty and he got screwed over, he did an apology book called 1963, which was because he believed comics should go back to being fun. And I loved it. He did it for Image, but he never finished it with the annual. It's a long story.
Yeah.
Ash, I thought Snow was white. If Snow is white, wait, wasn't it yellow too? I thought there was yellow Snow.
Oh, that's
Sometimes.
because the dwarves did all the yellow.
The dwarves?
That's when
Okay.
they would have parties at night, and that's when all the yellow stuff came in. So
I will say this about this show. So we've been talking a lot about comic books here and the current schema of what's going on. I think that what's going on in TV is very reflective of what's going on in mainstream comics too. A lot of what we've seen in the last 5 years has been a fundamental change in how we view comics and how they've been written and drawn. What's going on in this TV show is a prime example of what has changed in the comic book industry. We've seen a significant political change in how not only do we view things, but how they're actually portrayed. This whole plot line could have been massively awesome. It's the same thing with WandaVision. We were really let down on what happened with WandaVision because it was such an exciting premise. It was unique. It was new. It was exciting. It was like I was really hooked in the first 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, same.
And then they just dropped the ball, and we know how that ended. It's the same thing as Game of Thrones season 8. We were like, we loved Game of Thrones up until the last 2 seasons, especially the last 4 episodes where we went Whiskey Tango, Foxtrot. And then what happened with this whole show, the Woke Soldier and Black Falcon was just awful. I think what happened was they decided to put their politics into the story. The comic book where this is kind of semi-based off of was a really great storyline. It actually was a pretty good story. You had some big bad guys and you had some great heroes and you had a really good character arcs for not only Falcon, the Winter Soldier, Zemo, and even in this case, of course, we had the terrorists and Sharon Carter, which I think they really ruined. So the whole part of this story could have been a really, really good flag-waving story without pounding our heads with the hammer saying, hey, America bad, black good. It was just one of those stories that was just, it was pounding us over the head with this whole political ideology that we really don't need right now because we've seen it in every single thing we've watched in the last 3 years. I want to see Bucky and the Winter Soldier. I mean, Bucky is the Winter Soldier, Falcon, and the good guys, even John Walker with his character arc, beat up the bad guys, get rid of all the crap political stuff that was going on in the background, and let's just have a fun superhero show. It's superheroes. It's comic books.
No fun in this show.
You're asking for too much.
No fun
there.
allowed, buddy.
Yeah,
no fun allowed.
What is
fun.
with you? You need to keep your privilege intact.
Hashtag save gingers.
Yeah.
And by the way, they executed that poor ginger girl who was the real hero of this story in the end. Even though she killed all those people and blew up all those buildings and did all that terrible, terrible stuff, she was really the hero because hashtag save gingers.
She's not a terrorist. Why?
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, this is going to be that moment where we wrap. So I'm going to hand off the panel to start off with our Lord of Knowledge, Lord Thoth.
Hail, everybody. Thank you for inviting me on board here. I love talking comic books, especially with you guys. You guys are so amazing and knowledgeable, and every single one of you is just it's a fountain of knowledge and have different takes on everything that we talk about. It's comic books is one of the things that I love dearly, and out in the chat too. Thank you very much for being part of this and participating.
Yeah,
you really make this a lot of fun, and otherwise we'd just be a bunch of guys talking about comic books, which would get us probably beaten in the schoolyard and back a couple of years ago. So I think that it's great that we get a chance to talk about all this fun stuff, and thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Oh, my pleasure, dude. Thank you for coming on. It was about time I had you on here. It was only a matter of time. So I'm just glad it finally happened. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. You can invite me anytime and I'll drop by.
Yes.
Excellent.
Geek Tropology.
What can I say, man? Just avoid the Black Falcon and the Walker Soldier, and one day we may get great entertainment again. There's a bunch of new comic books that will make history, and they are already making history in my mind. And maybe, just maybe, we will be in the golden age again. But if that doesn't work, there's always a time machine.
Here, here.
All right, Jed. Talk.
Well, this Wednesday is my birthday, so we may be having a birthday stream. If people don't want me to do so, we may be doing a birthday stream on Wednesday.
Happy 29th birthday.
Thank you for the 29. but and then on Thursday we have the Global Geek Gang with Mike. And then on Friday I'm gonna be on, like it was today, I'm gonna be on Father Christopher's in the morning, and then I'll be on with Nick right here, and then me and Nick go over to Foul Balls stream, and then we're on with Foul Ball stream. And then on Saturday, I'm on Normies and whoever else wants me, because people want me on the weekend for some reason. And then Sunday we have our big stream of the week. And thank you everybody that came over here. Thank you everybody on the panel. Thank you all my friends here. I appreciate it. Thank you, Nick, for letting me come on every week talking about comics. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. Before I get onto the clobbering one, the Catman, aka DD Myers. Everyone, it's been one hell of a show. Thank you for letting me be here. It's been extremely awesome. And I've had a blast. We'll love this kind of time all the time. Everyone, take care and have one hell. I'm assuming you're meaning one hell of an evening. Well, sir, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for sticking around. You too, Mark D with a C, that 70s rock fan. Thank you for joining us. Ella Gablis, Snorta Poopus, Pat S.
Yeah.
Like, man, I know the Austinator dropped in earlier as well. Like, I appreciate you all. Yeah, I appreciate you all not only coming here, but also sticking around here. That's the true goal. Of course, Steve Mitchum, Mike Beat as well. So Rod Thunderheart. When you stick around, that's when it's truly worth, like, okay, we're doing something okay here. If we're holding your attention, we're hopefully doing something right. So thank you. Seriously, thank you. All right. Now, last but absolutely not least, he's got blue eyes. He's made of orange rocks, and he has a catchphrase.
Oh, well, thanks for having me, buddy. It's been fantastic hanging with all these great people and these amazing, knowledgeable, and fans who, genuinely love comics and everything. Love talking comics, and anytime you want me to talk comics, buddy, I'm game.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you hanging out with us, the Global Geek Gang yesterday. Everyone made it a fantastic time yesterday. That was just one for the ages.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, the magnificent, wonderful First Officer Raquel Briggs and myself will be doing Saturday Night Star Trek, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. As always, we're reviewing all of Real Trek. Our ongoing mission is to review all of Real Star Trek, which is, of course, 66 through 05 only, all the series, all of them. And that is a lot of fun. 4 more episodes tomorrow night, and that should be a lot of fun, even though we are in the 3rd season. Monday night. On Monday night, Clobbering Times Mark C. Comics Talk. I will be Comics Talk, but it'll be about a cartoon that I dearly love called Batman the Brave and the Bold. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to count down the top 25 episodes, the top 10 teasers, and all obscure DC lore references and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to have a blast talking about one of my all-time favorite cartoons, because this is all about fun when you get down to it, and that's as fun as it gets for me.
Dude, absolutely. And good choice for a show. If I wasn't doing comics division like at 9, I will definitely be listening to the first hour of that before I prep for comics, because dude, that is so cool that you're covering that show. I love that show. It's very underrated. Like, it was well received, but it definitely didn't have anywhere the acclaim. But the people who knew it, they loved it. Because if there's one thing that show did right, that the animated series, dare I say, did do, is they really emphasize on the greater DC lore. Like you had all these characters like you have never heard of or not been as aware of, and that show put all those characters out there because as obviously as masterful as the animated series is, it was very strictly Gotham City universe, which is fine because it worked in service of the show. But man, Brave and the Bold added all those characters, and it was just like, whoa, who are all these cool characters? Really showed you who else is out there besides Batman.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it was about being fun. It was aimed at, it definitely aimed at younger audiences because it came out at a time when you had The Dark Knight coming out, the 2008 Nolan film.
Yeah.
They needed something that they could market at younger audiences, and yet it was made by, James Tucker and Michael Jelenic. They know comics so well. Tucker basically, and I've always said this, this show is for 8-year-olds and it's for 40-year-old 8-year-olds. Because when you started reading comics as a kid, and then you could watch that with your young child, and they'll just like it for the silly cartoon stuff. And you'll catch all these crazy old school DC Comics references, and you'll have a lot of fun. And it's sheer fun. I definitely prefer the Dark Knight Detective Batman that you see in the animated series. That is more true to the spirit of Batman, but this is a little bit closer to the lighthearted Silver and Bronze Age Batman. Remember Brave and the Bold comic where he teamed up with superheroes all the time, or just like when he would mess with the Justice League, you go, okay, Batman's more of a loner, but not so much sometimes, and just love that show so much, man.
Right,
makes me happy. So anyway,
all right, thank you, Klobby. I appreciate you, dude. It is always fun being with you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, guys. It's been fun. The Ginger Ninja. I apologize. This is the part where you come in as we're about to go, but we got drop into the replay, dude. I promise it's worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. So yes, obviously I'm here at my channel, so you know where I'm at if you're here. So, and if you're somehow not following me on the socials, mine's Twitter, Instagram at Nick Weiser. I got more food videos coming. I got more metal videos coming.
Nice.
And I've got a celebrity rant. I'm gonna call out all this false bullshit narratives of the whole like first time ever Asian. First time I'm gonna crush this narrative to pieces. So watch out for that. It's gonna be beautiful. But thank you all. Thank you to the chat. You've all been killer. You all have a magical evening, and we'll see you all next